President Trump is a real asshole. I keep trying to take Taiwan, but he keeps saying no. He be like, you can't take no Taiwan shit. And I like, why not, nigga? You took Venezuela and Iran and all that shit. And he be like, you take Taiwan, and I'm a tariff your fat Chinese ass shit. And that hurt feelings. Because he also got big fat ass from eating McDonald's all day. But he only calling President Xi fat ass. He also keep calling me Kung Fu Panda. That shit ain't right, asshole. Anyway, enjoy Kung Pao chicken totari made of chicken, I promise. President Trump.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the following program. I am your host, Joe Newman, aka Good Logic. Hope you all had a phenomenal day as we start to reassemble here, covering all the best, all the things you need to know going on around the world today. The reason I shared that out is because I referenced two stories from tonight. Two stories I reference is the hot mess of what Thomas Massie was doing with this whole AIPAC Act, which reeks of desperation, and I'll explain to you why. I'm just saying it reeks of complete and total desperation. I will explain to you why. And also I referenced the racist streamer who has been charged with attempted murder. But I got a whole bunch of other stories that I plan on rolling on now. Plus, I got I found a slew of vids that you'll be crying laughter. So I'm probably saving that and going into a third hour, plus offering you a Saturday night show if we hit tonight's goal being 15 super chats in quantities of $10 or greater. We got 15 of those. I'm going to be giving you those vids. I'm going to be giving you that. We'll be working into that third hour, and I'll be here Saturday nights. There's not much more I can offer you. I mean, like I can raffle off my glasses, but what would you do with them? There's nothing you can do with them. But if you think that's all we're doing here tonight, it's much more than that, because I'm bringing to you the lovely and talented JimTellsYou from JimTellsYou. How are you, my brother?
How's it going, everybody? Looking for a good night tonight. I'm a little underdressed. I wore a t-shirt tonight.
That's
usually right. I have a collared shirt on.
That's all right. You're plenty of eye candy no matter what you're wearing. You don't need to. You need to dress the nines for us.
Well, you always wear three shirts, so
I'm balancing us out.
Yeah.
I live further north, so it's colder.
Yeah. Got a t-shirt on, an undershirt, a dress shirt, and a jacket.
I do actually. I am wearing all of those layers. There is an undershirt underneath the t-shirt, underneath the shirt, underneath.
Technically, I do have an undershirt on too. So
right. No, there's a lot. There's a lot of layers. It's a psychological thing,
It is.
No, the way I dress is supposed to be like work, chilled, like relaxed. So the day is over. Unbutton this shirt, still wearing the jacket. Kind of. That's what I felt is like the right level. That feels like the right level for a late night law politics show. But I don't know. That's subject to change depending on what my producers advise.
I don't know why. I just don't feel right if I don't have an undershirt on under a shirt. I don't know why.
Yeah,
feels weird.
Does it? Yeah, well, we wear tsitsis, so that's the reason I wear an undershirt, but you don't need to know about that. You don't care about that. Anyhow, how have you been? A good week?
Yeah, pretty good. A lot of stuff going on. A lot of news happening, big news.
Jim, as you're likely aware, is the one who actually feeds me a whole bunch of stories, and I was the one who brought to his attention the AIPAC Act.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it anywhere.
You still haven't seen it nowhere?
No, it's not on ground news or nothing.
Not anywhere. All right, well, I'll share with. We're gonna get to the AIPAC Act in a moment. Did you see that clip of Kamala going around? By the way,
no.
I've been doing. He's doing his research earlier. I find stuff late. He's been doing it earlier. You didn't see the Kamala clip?
No.
Let me share the Kamala clip with you first, just because this is Kamala. She introduced a concept to her fans. She introduced. This is great. She introduced The no bad idea policy. That's basically what she's come up with. She's now calling for Democrats to hold a no bad idea brainstorm where they discuss abolishing electoral college, packing the court, and making Puerto Rico and D.C. states.
Those all three are bad ideas.
No, so there's no bad idea. Listen. You have to listen to her. Listen to this woman.
And the thing they always bring up about D.C., Joe, it's in the Constitution that D.C. can't be a state. So you kind of got to get around that, I guess. I don't know.
They don't, like, as if you're talking about people who care about the Constitution. As if. All right.
This is Trump should go, you know what? D.C. is going to be square again. Now you guys want to play these games? Watch this.
Well, here we go. This is Kamala Harris introducing no bad ideas. No bad ideas. Listen to her talk.
Say, look, this is a moment where there are no bad ideas. A no bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it. And in that no bad ideas brainstorm, we talk about what we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College. We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court.
This. She sounds so drunk to me. To me,
So
it's
should
like
Trump come out and say, you know what? I think you're right. I'm going to add three
this
more
is what I don't
justices or four
understand.
more
I don't
justices.
understand. Like we don't even like. We have the power now. We don't do this.
We invite a conversation about multi-members districts. We talk about look,
Multi-members districts. I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to
So
mean.
she wants multiple members in one district or something. That doesn't make sense. Like, there's been a lot of weird stuff too about like the Congress people missing. Like, there's that Frederica Wilson has been missing for over 50 days. No one knows where she is, and
Really?
someone's been like posting pictures of. She's the one. She's like 83. She wears a cowboy hat. She's in Texas. She's always like they've been
She's been
posting
missing for
pictures.
83 days.
Yeah, nobody knows where she is. They can't get a hold of her, and it's like, who's voting for her? Because somebody's still voting for her.
Yeah, that's
You know,
weird.
somebody signed this petition. You know, this petition to fund Ukraine in the House. Somebody signed her name to it.
We're going to talk about. I'm going to talk about that also. I'm going to talk about that. Someone who broke my heart. I'm going to talk to you all about a congressman who broke my heart.
The guy who
Literally.
claimed he was independent, but he's actually just siding with the Democrats.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
look, that if we win the Senate, which we should and we will, then the Senate Judiciary Committee should have rules that they put in place. So when these people come before as nominees to the Supreme Court and lie.
She really sounds like a complete, like she's drunk.
She
out
sounds
of her
drunk
mind.
out of her mind right now.
Yeah. I actually commented on this that she looks like she would fail a breathalyzer by phone.
So the Senate could put rules on the Supreme Court. So then the Supreme Court could put rules on the Senate?
I don't know what the hell she's talking about. I don't know what the hell she's like out of her mind. Look at her. I mean, this could be, look, the freeze frame I got here could be Vax, but I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Look at her. She sounds.
That's a drunk woman.
This is not someone who should be operating large motorized vehicles. That's all.
I've had these conversations with my ex-wife with that exact look. Like, oh.
Account and consequence, not just that somebody goes on cable news and says they lied, but that there are rules in place to actually penalize people for lying to a Senate Judiciary Committee.
There is already. That's called
Perjury.
It's 18 U.S.C. 1001.
That we agree that it is right to have ethics rules for Supreme Court justices. And let's put those in place.
Who's putting those in? Who?
So Supreme Court should put ethics rules on the Congress then. And just say, no, if you can put rules on me, I can put rules on you.
Why not?
Because we're equal.
Why not? Why not? Look at her face. Oh my God.
Let's talk about statehood for Puerto Rico and DC.
Oh.
These are the things I think that we've got to do. We've got to neutralize these red states from cheating.
Oh, okay. The red states are cheating.
Blue states expanding their maps. And all of this, I think.
How are blue states going to expand? When they're going to fucking conquer their neighbors? What are you talking about?
No. Watch out, Canada. Here comes Washington. I don't know what this means. I don't understand anything what she's talking about here. Next thing you know, like Vermont is going to be like invading Quebec. What are we talking about? What California is going to expand out into Mexico?
look, we got to fight fire with fire. These folks are playing to win. We got to play to win too.
No bad ideas, except for everything that she threw out there. I think she had to introduce it as no bad ideas, just that people wouldn't be snickering at her. Like, what the hell are you smoking? There's no bad idea. She's so desperate to be recognized as being the leader of the Democrat Party. So she's like, you know, who the heck is still listening to her? But apparently folks are. Apparently folks are. Yes, I had to share that with you because I knew you'd want.
No, but these people are coming out here doing this shit, and then you get the people like the governor of Mississippi, the governor of Georgia, basically pussing out. Like Georgia says, no, we're not going to redistrict. We're going to redistrict, but not till 2027.
Kamala Drunk Tyson Harris. She looks so bad. So bad. You know, I want you to know, Andrew, I almost invited you on tonight because I'm going to be talking tonight about.
Invite him on. Go ahead.
About Tennessee's self-defense law with respect to this racist streamer who.
Hey! I'm not racist.
Chud the Builder charged with attempted murder is going to be arguing self-defense. And
is he racist? I don't know anything about him. Is he racist?
Should we jump there ahead of Massie? I can jump there. I can jump there.
No. Let's see if Andrew wants to join before you go.
I'll invite. I'll send him a link.
I'm sorry if I'm bullying you. I don't.
No, I feel a little bullied, but that's okay. You know,
You know who Chrissy Mayer is?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Why?
You know about the stream that happened where she came on saying she was bullied and blah blah blah. So it was a joke. Never mind.
Oh, I wasn't familiar with that.
It's just happened the last couple of days.
I missed that. All right. Well, I just sent him a link. So, if he wants to come,
he might not come because he doesn't really like me very much.
He loves you.
I know.
He told me he wants to hang with you every night. It's just that he doesn't have the time, and his wife would get jealous.
Okay.
But you know,
now I feel better.
Yeah. Steve OG coming in here, breaking the seal. I never even heard this term until I was in law school and I was drinking with a whole bunch of Irish people and at a bar. And I asked
what it calls when you open up a bottle, you break the seal on the bottle.
And I asked them how it is that they don't need to they don't need to go to the bathroom like 100 times. So like when they got me a pint, they were telling me like I had to try a pint of Guinness. So I think that might have been the first time I tried a pint of Guinness. Right.
All right, Bronca. Says it come on in a couple minutes.
Beautiful. So I can have time for my story. So he's got to get a pint of Guinness, and I'm like halfway through it, and I'm like running to the bathroom like every 10 minutes. I was like, how do you guys not have to just go? Like you're just sitting here for like an hour and a half straight. Like none of you getting up for like even a second. And they're like, you cannot break the seal. You cannot break the seal. Once you break the seal, you're done. And I didn't even know that. That was the first time I ever heard the term, but it was self-evident what they were saying. I didn't need any further explanations. So, Kimberly's saying it's all about the power with these Democrats. They don't give a damn about American people. Of course, they don't give a slightest damn about American people. Of course not. Box one, brainstorm. Kamala Harris, no bad vodka plan. I wasn't that late, Jacob, but I appreciate you being a member here now for 5 months, my brother. 5 months. I definitely appreciate that. All right, so we'll see you in a minute. I'm going to give you a little breakdown because you said you didn't see anything that he was racist.
I don't know anything about the guy at all.
Okay.
Maybe I'm not on the internet enough, I guess.
I never heard of him before today either. Okay. I'm just going to I'll share with you just claims about like what this guy is all about, okay? So just so we understand who we're talking about. I didn't lightly refer to him as a racist. I'm going to feel uncomfortable reading some of what I'm about to read in this article. I'm going to feel a little bit uncomfortable.
See, this too bad this didn't happen earlier because Cynic would be perfect to read all the racial stuff.
That's true. That's true. It would have worked better if this happened yesterday. Chud the Builder, known for racially derogatory live streams, charged with attempted murder in Tennessee. A man who goes by Chud the Builder and live streams himself saying racially derogatory statements to black people in public settings was arrested and charged with attempted murder after shooting outside a Tennessee courthouse on Wednesday, authorities said. Dalton Etherly, 28, and an unidentified man were involved in a confrontation that resulted in gunfire, District Attorney Hobart J. Nash said in a statement, but Nash wouldn't say why Etherly was at the courthouse in Clarksville, what he was doing, and what prompted the confrontation. Police didn't provide the race of the other man, but we have learned that his name is Joshua Fox and he's black. Witnesses saw him load into an ambulance, described him as black. Both men were transported to hospitals for medical treatment and were stable, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office said, quote, we will conduct a thorough review and, if appropriate, present the facts to a grand jury for a charging decision. A release from National Office reads, in part, will provide further updates as the case progresses. Etherly was charged with criminal attempted murder, employing a firearm during a dangerous felony, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. He was booked into the Montgomery County Jail, where he was being held pending arraignment when bond will be set. Jacob Fenley, an attorney listed in court records as representing Etherly in a separate harassment case in November, did not immediately return phone call. Claire Martin, who works in an attorney's office across the street from the courthouse, said Etherly is well known in Clarksville for antagonizing people to see what he can get them to do. She said he yells racial slurs at people while filming them. He's not a contributing member of society.
Well,
Martin,
I mean, that's a pretty strong statement to say he's not a contributing member of society.
well, that's true. He's producing YouTube. I don't know if it's on YouTube. I don't know if he's available on YouTube, but he's a content provider. So that's
doing something.
Yeah, there you go. He's keeping people busy. Martin did not see the altercation, but saw the aftermath. The other man waved at us as he got in the ambulance. In a video posted on the website Pump.fun on Wednesday, Etherly said he shot a man in self-defense after the person started hitting him. Etherly speaks with paramedics in the clip, one of whom takes a note of the wound's entry and exit point. That's the photo provided. That's his mugshot.
Oh, well, that mustache kind of says.
It's a porn stash, right? That's what that is. That's what they call that, right?
If he was a racist, it'd be a lot skinnier.
Is that the way it works?
I don't know. Right?
Is there only one mustache?
Well, for racists, sure.
Did I shoot myself or did it graze it? Etherly asked. Etherly has been scheduled to appear in court Wednesday morning in Clarksville, located about 50 miles north of Nashville, over a $3,300 debt allegedly owed to a credit card company, according to Montgomery County records. The civil case was filed in February. Etherly is a white man, live streams confrontation on social media where you can be seen and heard making racially derogatory statements to black people in public. In one video taken in a market, he says to a passing black man, and again, I'm just reading here what it says. So this, no one should understand. I'm just trying to give you a flavor for what's going on here. So he used the phrase "you chimping out," a reference to chimpanzees. He then uses the N-word a number of times. The black man. That's pretty racist. That's pretty racist. The black man is seen using a cell phone. Hey, my brother.
Hey, I'm on. And caught me by surprise.
You brought you came in the right moment. Yeah. So the black man is seen using a cell phone to record the confrontation, telling Etherly, "Don't touch me." A clerk tells Etherly he's not allowed to say that word. He responds, "America's free speech. Tell me I can't say something again." This is, I'll assume he said some number of letter word that starts with an F. America. Racist in the United States and other countries historically to compare black people to monkeys or apes. They're bringing this up in case you didn't understand why you chimping out what that could possibly mean. In February, President Trump, this is stupid. I don't care about your stupid thing of that. And then they talk about his other stuff here. So
if he said you guys are wilding out, would that be okay? They say they're wild.
I'm going to tell you right now. So, as far as him being potentially charged here, we don't know enough about the facts of this particular case yet. He hasn't been charged. He was arrested and charged Sunday with theft of services. We don't know the exact.
No, that's a prior event. He's charged with attempted murder here.
Right. So my question is, and some of the stuff that's been posted on this. News streamer Chad has been charged with attempted murder, and allegedly after he shot someone, Etherly accidentally shot himself. He said, "You start saying all that." That what the other guy said is, "You start saying all that chimp out crap to me, and I'm gonna hit you." And he hit me and started wailing on me. Etherly claimed, according to CNN. According to officials, the victim who was shot by Etherly was medically evacuated in stable condition. Etherly appeared to accidentally shoot himself in the arm. Atlee was also charged with aggravated assault, reckless endangerment with deadly weapon, and employing a firearm during a dangerous felony. This comment, which is made from some nobody, this was like just sort of like, we're reaching a different level here. Because you read this comment here from this dude, he will get off. This is clear self-defense. The DA is a kitten and is afraid of the local population, black population, burning down the city. We're all hostages to a group of savage, low IQ, low impulse control. This is what this dude is saying, and there's a reason I'm showing this to you. You need to understand. I'm not just reading a random guy. He is a random dude that's changing consumer habits. Right? I mean, I don't know how he's got. But the reason I'm sharing this with you is because this comment has 266 likes on it. Like, I was just like, wow. I mean, this is a clear.
No, I've been hit with thousands of these kinds of comments all day today, as you can imagine, on X. And the problem is, Joe, that what we're really having here is two different conversations, and people don't understand they're having two different conversations. One is what I do professionally, which is the legal analysis of the use of force event, right? Just a cold, rational breakdown about the facts and the law. What's the likely legal outcome to a reasonable degree of legal certainty? But on the other side, you have a very different conversation happening. You have a conversation that's emotional, that's driven by a groundswell of multi-decade resentment that white people feel about how they've been treated in society.
Just one moment, if you can. If you could just like turn your mic a little bit down, because I think you are a little hot. Some people
Sure.
are commenting. So, and I agree with you. While you're adjusting that, I agree with you that we're seeing people we're seeing white people feel very, very, just like they're breaking free of like continually being assaulted with being told what race
they're tired of the violent crime rate. They're tired of the legal double standard. They're tired of the affirmative action nonsense. They're tired of being treated like white second-class citizens in the nation they created. And they're done with it. The boomers are dying off, right? These are the next generations. They're like, what the F did I ever do to deserve to be treated like a second-class citizen in my own nation? And they're done with feeling like they're being harvested by criminals at the criminal's whim, and no one's ever held accountable. They're all released with no bail. They see people 15 felony offenses, and they're murdering little Ukrainian girls on trains, and they're fed up with it. And it makes it almost impossible for them to have a rational discussion about this. That's the problem.
And I'll tell you this, I identified that like when Trump was in his first election, 2016, and she came out, Hillary Clinton had that leak of where she called us a
and by the way,
basket
I'm
of
sorry,
deplorables.
Joe. I want to interrupt just for a second. I want to make clear that when I characterize all these feelings that people have, I'm not trying to delegitimize them. I think these are legitimate grievances that people have. These are public policy concerns that are genuine to have, should be debated, should be argued about. It should be made better. All I'm saying is it's different than whether or not this particular shooting was lawful or not.
Right, 100%. 100%. And that's an important distinction, because that is why I brought him in here, was to break that down. But I just want to get into the societal and political discussion for just a moment, is how I saw this whole thing. I was how I identify this whole thing breaking down. It started. I always come back to Obama with ratcheting up racial tensions, and that he's the one who basically paved the road where the left identified half the country as being racist, which is why Hillary Clinton in 2016 calls us a basket of deplorables, the racist, the whatever, and we embrace that. And the reason I think that's important is because once you embrace it and you say, yeah, fine, that's what it is, I'm a racist, it actually, it takes away all the sting of the term. The reason they were using the term was to try and cow, to basically, silence any dissent from Obama, and to fortify the left, that you need to stand up against these evil people. But once you embrace it, amongst a certain element, they're just basically like, yeah, I'm going to not just embrace it, but I think that what we're seeing here, when I see 266 likes on some nobody, this is not somebody who's who's famous. He's a nobody who's got 451 followers. I don't know if he probably never got 266 likes on a post in his life, but he's getting 266 likes here for what's a obviously, really racist riff here about blacks in general. And I think that it's become more acceptable, not just to embrace the term as far as being a racist, and because you feel like, I know I'm not a racist, so I don't care what names you throw at me, it's sticks and stones. But to a younger generation, it's like, no, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being a racist. Like it's encouraged them to actually embrace a racist side. And I actually think that was part of the agenda. In other words, you start by pretending that there's this whole racial tension. And I do think it actually becomes that's what creates a breeding ground for there to be racial tension. You keep pushing them down, saying they're racist, pushing them down. And at a certain point, you're right. A younger crowd is like, you know what? F you. I'm so tired of being identified this way. This is terrible. You're not fair. You've not been judging me fairly. And I think that we're seeing an actual breeding ground here for people to actually become very very much into identifying with the race, irrespective of what race they are. So I'm curious about your thoughts about that evolution within our society.
Well, it's almost impossible to talk about these things because people can't differentiate between talking about individuals and talking about groups. So some of my greatest heroes in my life are African-American men: Clarence Thomas, Thomas Sowell, Walter Williams. Black people can be as amazing as anybody. But you also can't lie to yourself and say that it's untrue that 60% of violent crime in America is committed by 5% of the population that is young black men. There's a violent crime problem in the black community. And we've brainwashed somehow people into pretending that's not true. And if you can't recognize the violent crime problem, white guys know if I got arrested 15 times on felony charges, I'm not getting kicked loose 15 times with no bail. That's not going to happen to me. But we see it happen with black criminal suspects again and again and again until they commit a high-profile murder. And people are just done with the stand. All they want is for everyone actually to be treated the same. Yeah. They're just saying, listen, no one should be arrested 15 times on felony charges and be on the street to commit a heinous murder. That shouldn't be gifted to white people. It shouldn't be gifted to black people. It shouldn't be gifted to anybody. If you're a patent threat to society, you should be locked up. If we locked up people after the third felony offense, 90% of violent crime would go away. And yet we see how the criminal justice system is applied to white and black people as being so disparate. And the consequences of the disparity is a horrific, violent criminal harvesting of people we know, our neighbors, our family, our sons and our daughters. And we're like, we don't accept this anymore. We're tired of saying there's no difference between the races. There are demonstrable demographic differences in violent crime, in use of welfare, in affirmative action, and it's always to my detriment. That's how people feel about it.
Right. So, Jim, you have thoughts on this? You want to weigh in?
I've been seeing a bunch of stuff. I don't know what's true and what's not about the case as far as I've seen reports that supposedly Chud posted stuff previously talking about how he's going to do something. And then there's stuff saying that this guy that he shot was stalking him, that he was posting that he was looking for him. I don't know. I think that's all going to have to.
We're in the fog of war right now.
Right. That's all going to play out
the facts
later.
We know are very iffy.
Right.
But if you want, I can talk about, what the legal questions are. I mean, the legal
before we get to the legal questions, I do want to get a little bit more on the facts because Jim just identified something that I don't have a link to here. I think he might have shared a link of this with me, but that I think is an important, could become, and I want to ask Andrew specifically about a specific fact, which is, I remember seeing somewhere, and I don't have it here, maybe you could pull it up, Jim, where this guy has gone online basically claiming that he wants to instigate a fight with black people. Like that's his objective.
I don't know if I shared that to you or because I'm looking for it now.
We have to be careful because I think he was responding to someone threatening him. And so in that context, the whole thing sounds very different. And the person who was threatening him deleted their content, so you can't see their comment anymore. So all you see is him saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna," if you would basically the final chapter in this series, I think he says something like that, is you dead on the sidewalk. So it sounds hyper aggressive, but it feels different when he's saying it in response to a threat to kill him.
Right. Now, when I pulled up Tennessee's law on this, just that we're all on the same page as far as the law of self-defense. And I'm sure that you'll concur with my assessment of this.
39-11-6-11, something like that. Is that right?
Very, very, very good. Very impressive. Good job, Andrew. See, this is why he's the expert here. 39-11-6-11, self-defense justification. That's under the Tennessee statute. And if you look on the section B, where it starts saying, notwithstanding, there's a person who's not engaged in conduct, who's not engaged in conduct. Let me make this a little bigger for you so you can all see it somewhat better here. A person who's not engaged in conduct that would constitute a class of felony misdemeanor is in place where the person has a right to be and has no duty to retreat before threatening or using force against another person, when and to the degree the person reasonably believes that the force is immediately necessary to protect against the other's use or attempted use of unlawful force, which is basically saying you can stand your ground and in your own self-defense. But if you come down here to section E,
E's the killer. In this case.
So section E of this statute says that if the threat or use of force against another is not justified,
so even if you qualify for everything that statute just said, even if you otherwise qualify for lawful self-defense, it all goes out the window if you trigger this.
If the person using force provoked the other individual's use or attempted use of unlawful force. And if you're the one who provoked and you have no self-defense unless and until two things happen. It means that the person using force abandons the encounter or communicates to the other the intent to do so, and the other person nevertheless continues or attempts to use unlawful force against that person. So you have to basically, once you provoked, you have to say, okay, we're done. Let's stop. And then the guy keeps coming at you. And now it's almost like we're in a whole new environment. It's almost as if you never provoked anymore. So at that point,
the way to think about it is it's a second fight. It's a second fight in which he's the initial aggressor in the second fight. You're actually still on the hook for the first fight, but the way it works is you provoke the fight, you lose self-defense because you provoked it, but you can regain self-defense by, in good faith, withdrawing from the fight. Basically, you're getting rewarded for stopping the confrontation that you provoked. And then if you're withdrawing, the only way for the fight to continue from then on is that person would have to come to you and initiate a second confrontation in which they're the initial aggressor, they've lost self-defense, and you've regained self-defense for that second fight. But first, you lost it. First, you lost it by provocation, and then you have to regain it by withdrawal. And then if a second fight happens, it's because they followed you.
Right. But I want to be clear here that as far as I've seen under Tennessee law, and this is likely the case in most states, I would think, and you would certainly know better than I would, that simply using racial slurs does not qualify standing alone as a provocation. You're driving past someone and you call them by a racial slur. I don't think that qualifies individually as provocation. I think that it's a totality of circumstances that is applied in Tennessee and probably across the country. Is that your understanding as well?
The way to think about it is, would the person engaged in the language have a reasonable expectation that they're likely to elicit a violent response? And when you say to someone, hey, N-word, are you going to chimp out? That sounds to me, and I think it would sound to many jurors, like you're being provocative with the expectation that you may elicit a violent response from this person.
So if the provocation by provocation, it means you're looking for there to be physical altercation. You're trying to.
You should have a reasonable expectation that you're likely to get a violent response.
Is fighting words still a thing, or?
Fighting words means something completely different. And we can talk about that if you want, but it has nothing really to do with self-defense, unless you interpret fighting words to mean provocation, and then we're right back.
That's what I'm saying, provocation by him, by the fighting words, by him saying that's like fighting words. So
fighting words really has to do with whether or not the words you're saying can be criminally punished by the state or whether they're protected by the First Amendment. It really has nothing to do with the actual use of force. So fighting words is really a First Amendment question. This is whether or not you've said words that you should have known would likely provoke a violent response. And I think it's hard to argue that you call people, the black men, the N-word to their face to say, well, I had no idea that was going to elicit a violent response.
So you think that in theory a jury could hold him to have abdicated and lost his self-defense right if he basically was using slurs against him before the altercation started?
Yep, especially given his history. This is what he does explicitly to provoke people to develop his social media content.
And that's why I wanted to flesh out his history a little bit more by saying that, you know, according to the article we read, that's what he does is he's basically trying to be hostile to people for whatever, there's clicks and views probably, or for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter what his motivation, I guess, is in that sense. But also as far as whether he's, you know, displayed a mindset, because that he wants to actually have a physical fight, that's his objective.
He's a social media provocateur. I mean, this is what he does. He goes out in the community, he calls black people the N-word to provoke interactions, right? So the notion that those interactions would never be violent, we have to keep in mind, and I see people saying, well, it wouldn't apply, you know, if the black guy was calling him a cracker or whatever, it wouldn't be the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. It just isn't the same thing. White people in general have been socially conditioned for generations that if they were to see a white guy call a black guy the N-word, they viscerally would recoil. It's not the same thing. And you can say it's not fair, you can say whatever you like, but there's going to be 12 people on this jury. Most of them are going to be white people in this community. And most of them are going to be socially conditioned to think that it's a really bad thing to call a black guy the N-word to his face.
Most of those jurors would never use the N-word to a black person's face.
They don't do it, right?
Did he say the N-word to him when this happened? Or
well,
was it just
I don't know for a fact that he did it here. He does it habitually in his videos. So
right.
If he didn't do it, there may be no provocation, and then it would be a different self-defense analysis, right? But if he's consistent with past behavior and he used the N-word in that way, I would argue there's a good chance he lost self-defense over provocation. And then he could argue, all right, even if I did that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, even if I provoked the fight, then I withdrew because they say he was walking away from the confrontation when he was attacked from behind. But you have to be, and this is where the vagueness of the facts, again, catches up with us, but to regain innocence by this withdrawal from the confrontation, it has to be a genuine good faith withdrawal. You're attempting to de-escalate the confrontation. If you're walking away and while you're walking away, you're still saying the N-word, that's not that. You're not actually trying to de-escalate the confrontation. I don't know if that's what happened or not, but if it happened, I'm sure we're going to hear about it. The prosecutor will be talking about it.
And I want to be clear to everyone here. I have never seen a Chud the Builder video. Fairly certain that my compatriots over here have never seen one. We don't know exactly what his content is. You know, I see.
Right. I'm going by reputation.
We're going purely by what we're reading online about him. I see some people are saying that's not what he does. He videos black people behaving badly and narrates, which that obviously would change the equation as far as, you know, is that something that's more provocative as yelling the N-word to a black person's face? But I think the point here is that even if it's unfair, the unfairness of life doesn't, the same way the unfairness of life isn't going to make it, you know, now we're going to make you a basketball player or a movie star because it's not fair to say that, you know, that short people shouldn't be able to play basketball. Unfairness of life is that white people have been socially conditioned to basically not react in the same visceral way to any slur against white people the way that we recognize black people will react to the N-word, by being called the N-word by a white person. I mean, think about it for a second. Would you expect? Imagine some black teenager walking onto a train and he basically, you know, screams "cracker." Would you expect that that's going to end in him getting punched in the face? And I would submit to you, I think there's 1 chance in 50 that happens. At
Nobody
best,
would care. Nothing would happen.
At best. Whereas
Right.
if a white guy walked onto a train with a bunch of black people and used the N-word, I think that it'd be at least a 50-50 shot. Someone's going to punch him, or someone's going to get in his face and basically, you know, if not physically, if not having an actual physical altercation. So
because white people don't care about those kinds of racially charged insults. But on the other hand, Joe, if you were to walk into a Harley bar and say, "Hey, I'm a New York Jew and you're all a bunch of fags," and you got punched, you might not be shocked that happened.
Right. It's true. So the point is, look, as we don't know exactly what happened here, but if in fact the jury finds that he provoked this, in that case, he doesn't have the self-defense that it seems as if, based on reports,
unless he can argue he regained it by genuine good faith withdrawal and communication, which could be the case. Again, we don't know the facts, but that would have to be the argument he would need to make and convince the jury of it.
Yeah, and at this point, it's too early for us to know exactly what happened here. So,
and even if we take provocation off the table, just pretend that never happened. There's no evidence of provocation. He was simply walking down the street, and this black dude just ran up behind him and punched him. We still have the problem of proportionality. So there's no evidence the guy who attacked him had any kind of weapon. It was a barehanded attack. It was a punch, a couple punches. I don't know. The video clip I saw, there's no way it wasn't a sustained attack in an alley in the middle of the night. You know, this is outside a courthouse. There's lots of people around. If a fight happens, there's going to be lots of bailiffs or deputies or whatever rushing in, which is what happened. There was a couple punches thrown, and he responded to the couple punches thrown by pulling out a gun and shooting this guy. Now, there are circumstances in which you can use a gun against a barehanded attack. I mean, Zimmerman did it. Kyle Rittenhouse, the first guy he shot, it was a barehanded attack. There's circumstances in which that can be justified, but it's not an easy justification. It's not like the guy came at him with a knife and he shot him, or came at him with a gun and he shot him. And so that's another difficulty.
Something like that. If you're not going to ground,
like he wasn't mounted like George Zimmerman was mounted. He wasn't getting his head beat into the sidewalk, screaming for help, and no one was coming to help him. There wasn't a huge disparity in size, strength, and fighting ability. At least I don't think so. I mean, those to justify the use of the gun against the fist, that's what you'd have to come up with, some aggravating factor that made that fist a deadly force attack, an attack likely, not 2%, which is the statistical measure, but likely to cause death or serious bodily injury. And that can happen. The attacker can be much larger. There can be a disparity of numbers. The attacker could have a fighting ability the defender doesn't have. Maybe Chud is on blood thinners, and a fist to his head is actually a deadly force threat. I don't know. But those are the kinds of things he'd have to argue to make that gun a lawful defense against a thrown fist.
Would the attacker need to know, or it's an eggshell type of thing?
No.
Okay.
It's all from the mindset of the defender. The only thing that matters is the reasonable perception of the defender.
But it's got to be reasonable from the perspective of it's objectively and subjectively. So it's not just
and
his
subjectively,
own,
right?
It's not just
in other
his
words,
own personal
if the
perspective.
defender's on blood thinners and knows he's exceptionally vulnerable to deadly force injury from a punch, it doesn't matter that the person throwing the punch doesn't know that.
Right. Okay. I'm reminded.
Now, the eggshell stuff doesn't matter in terms of civil liability, but that's different than what we're talking about.
Right. I'm reminded of the Kyle Rittenhouse closing arguments, where we were laughing at Lunchbox prosecutor, that he was basically saying sometimes you got to take a beating, right? So he was saying you don't have self-defense here because sometimes you got to take a beating, and we were all like, what are you, insane? That sounds crazy. And what you just described could have sounded almost like that, in the sense of like you don't have a right to use deadly force if you're about to get punched in the face. But I think the difference that existed there is Kyle Rittenhouse looked like a little waif. You know, I mean, he looks like, you know, he's barely bigger than Ellen Page, and you know, and Rosenblum, Joseph Rosenblum, who's rushing at him, looked like, you know, a bull compared to him.
Well, the difference is Rosenbaum was going to fight him for his gun. Rosenbaum got his hand on Kyle's gun, so that's not a barehanded attack. Rosenbaum was arming himself. He was arming himself with Kyle's weapon, so that was an armed attack.
Well, if Rosenbaum was lunging at him and was, you know, his hands reached out, and his hand is like, you know, as far from the gun as mine is from the camera now, right? So I still would think that he's able to use deadly force because of imminent fear that he's going to grab the gun also. Couldn't there be something, wouldn't that be a logical basis to say that he can defend himself?
You're using pronouns, so I'm getting confused. But Kyle Rittenhouse would have a reasonable fear that Rosenbaum would seize his firearm and use it from him. So
right.
Again, it's no different than if there was a second rifle on the street and Rosenbaum was picking up the rifle from the street. In fact, it's worse because he's simultaneously arming himself with Kyle's gun and disarming Kyle at the same time. Now, in this case with Chud, if the black gentlemen were like fighting Chud for his gun, well, that's an armed confrontation then. They're both fighting for control of a gun. But it tends to be different with a pistol because it's concealed and people don't know you have it. So when they punch you, they're not fighting you for the gun they don't know you have. Now, if they know you have it, this happened in the Zimmerman case. Trayvon Martin attacked George Zimmerman with punches, and then Zimmerman's jacket fell open and revealed the gun, and Trayvon Martin went for the gun. And that's when, Trayvon Martin went for the gun, and that's when George Zimmerman shot him. Maybe that kind of dynamic happened here. Maybe the black gentleman started with punches, saw the gun, went for the gun, and that's when Chud drew it and shot him. That would be a different fact pattern. That would be much more defensible here.
I saw some people claiming that the guy had a gun on him and showed him the gun before the fight took place.
That would change things too. Then it's an armed attacker. Right.
Yeah. So again, it's still too early for us to know what happened here and make an actual assessment. But the point that I think we're all getting at here is he seems to be very, very confident that he has legitimate self-defense claim, and he very, very well may. But
Who
there's
does?
a lot. I'm talking about Chud having. He very well may have a legitimate self-defense claim. But there are reasons to have concerns if you're his defense counsel that he basically took steps to provoke, which could have destroyed his ability to ever use.
I mean,
rely on that at all.
He has a claim of self-defense. It's just very vulnerable. It's vulnerable on the element of innocence. Was he the provoker? That's his modus operandi for creation of social media content. Did he use disproportional force? That's a deal killer. And then there's the general avenue of attack. The reasonableness requirement, you have to have been conducting yourself like a reasonable and prudent person. And I guarantee you, the prosecutor is going to argue to the jury. Ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, does a reasonable and prudent person just go out on the public street in the middle of the day and start calling black people the N-word to their face and ask them if they're going to, have you ever done that? Ask someone, a black person, if they're going to chimp out? Does that sound reasonable to you? Because if it's unreasonable conduct, it's not lawful self-defense. Now, listen, I don't like that argument. I don't think it's entirely honest, but to a lay jury that doesn't know anything about self-defense law or how these things really work, we've all heard more ridiculous arguments out of prosecutors, right?
Yeah. This is the video of, although I don't, do you have a better video than this one? Because this one is very far away.
I have the source video, and it doesn't show me anything useful, I have to be honest. I'm sure it's the one you're about to play. I think it's the only one.
Does anyone have his video that he was taking? That Chud was taking?
Holy shit, they're out here. Somebody got shot. Yeah.
Yeah, so by the time this video starts, they're both already in contact. You know, the fisticuffs already happened. You can't tell who chased who, if anybody chased anybody.
They got him.
Yeah, you can't tell who laid hands first. It's difficult.
They may not even have started recording until they heard a gunshot, right? That might have been what drew them to the window. So
it's not even clear which one's Chud.
It's really hard to tell.
No,
I can't tell.
I'm right there.
So.
Oh, he's dead. He's dead.
Now it turns out he's not dead.
He's not dead, right?
No, he's in stable condition.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Someone called him.
Which means we'll get to hear his testimony at the trial.
Maybe.
Likely, you would think, right?
I don't know, right? I mean, we had the Derek Chauvin case, and George Floyd's drug dealer wouldn't testify, right? He just pled the fifth. So does this guy want to testify about what happened? I mean, maybe. I don't think he's pure as a driven snow here either. Listen, even if Chud is guilty of attempted murder and sentenced to 60 years in prison, that doesn't mean the guy he shot didn't commit a crime. They both could have committed crimes. The fact that someone's called the N-word doesn't justify their violence. That's still unlawful violence.
Well, I think that's why he was asking you about the fighting words thing. That was what.
Fighting words does not excuse your use of violence. I know that's what people think it means, but it doesn't have anything to do with that.
Can you explain what it does mean? Because I think a lot of people are probably confused by that.
Sure. So say Joe were out on the street in Lower Manhattan, walked up to a black guy and called him the N-word and asked him if he were going to chimp out. And then someone tried to prosecute Joe for those words. Say, hey, that's disorderly conduct to say those mean words. Joe would say, oh, no, under the First Amendment, those words are protected free speech. So you can't prosecute me for saying those words as disorderly conduct. What the Supreme Court said was it Chilinsky, a 1942 case? They said, well, there are certain words. If they're intended to incite violence, they're not protected by the First Amendment. You can be prosecuted for saying them, like with a charge of disorderly conduct. And it was kind of a broad ruling, so it was kind of vague on, like, if you were saying, like, mean things to a crowd or mean, like, political, it wasn't clear. So over the decades, it's become increasingly narrowed down. And today, what it basically means is, if you say insulting words to a particular individual, not to a group, and it's got to be face-to-face, it's not like shouted from a distance, and it's intended to be derogatory, and it incites immediate physical violence, those words may not be protected under the First Amendment. You may be subject to prosecution for saying those words. It does nothing to justify the other guy's responsive violence against your words. It's got nothing to do with that.
Over in the ghetto, Uzelian says, so being in Clarksville is something to remember as most are going to be military or ex-military. He also says something to remember is never talk. Chud is toasted.
You know, a lot of our military are black and Hispanic, and they probably don't like being called the N-word either.
Well, he says that something to remember is never talk. Chud is toasted by his own words, and he shares a link in his next video, in his next thing over here.
I heard he waived Miranda, which suggests he just started talking to the cops. And I hope as a criminal defense attorney, I hope that's not true, because he doesn't strike me as smart enough.
Well, this is the link that was shared with me, where he. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but this is where he may have. I haven't seen this video yet.
I walked up to him because they were pointing at me. They were laughing. They were pointing at me, and I said, "What's up, guys? How y'all doing?" I said, "Y'all like the new suit?" He said, "Walk away from me." I walked away from him. He came back.
This audio is from his video. There's a video. It's his video but there was no video. It was like the camera was broken. It was just picking up audio, because I get you the actual source thing, but it says low bit rate, whatever. But that's where the audio. This audio is not from this video. Is what I'm getting at.
So he sounds like a black suspect. He's just saying, I didn't do nothing.
Well,
I was just attacked.
Let's hear exactly what he says, and then we'll assess it.
He came back up to me. He literally said, "I have PTSD. I feel like I'm in." He said, "You start saying all that chimp out shit to me, I'm gonna hit you." He hit me, started wailing on me, even after I had to defend myself by shooting him. He's still wailing on me.
Where's your weapon at?
They have everything.
Whose weapon is that right there?
I believe that's it. Is that yours?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's talking to him right now. Oh no, you guys are good. Do your thing.
All right, so that's the audio.
I walked up.
By the way, if someone tells you, if you say that chimp out stuff, I'm going to hit you, and then you say it, is that provoking a violent response? It feels that way to me. You know you're going to provoke a violent response, right?
Yeah. And based on him, the way he told the story, it feels as if that's the part he left out.
Yeah,
I mean,
it does.
Like he's like, it's like yada yada yada. He started hitting me, So it feels like he totally yada yada over like what he did between the guy threatening him and then actually fulfilling that threat. So
because I've seen him video clip of his where he's talking to black guys saying, "Hey, are you going to chimp out right now? Are you going to chimp out?" And I don't know if it was this event or a prior event, but I mean, this is kind of his modus operandi. This is what he does to produce.
I posted a video that showed like a video of his that I found on Twitter, and it's not him shooting anybody, but he does spray somebody with pepper spray. If you want to play it, it's like a minute long, and basically.
All right, so he knows what he's doing. Provokes a violent response, right? This is not his first
There's also
rodeo.
pictures of him, I guess, a couple of years ago where he was like trans or something. I don't know.
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
We can skip that part.
Why?
That might work in prison, though.
What the heck?
Might get him some more cigarettes in prison.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, all right. I'll share with you what I got here.
I put it in a private chat.
Yeah, I see it. I'm pulling it up.
Are you on some shrooms or something? What are you on? I already told you I'm on your mama's sweet pussy, bitch. You're a bitch, bro. Literally, all you do is talk about your dick.
I'm sorry. I'm a nigger.
Come back over here.
Okay. Let's
Come back over here.
Let's not fight. I am.
Touch me again. Touch me again.
I don't want to get pepper sprayed. I really don't.
Go pick up my hat, nigger. You heard me, nigga. Touch me again. Touch me again, nigger. That's what I thought.
Right, so I guess he does say it a lot.
I ain't gonna pray.
What was that?
And by the way, when you're walking to the confrontation rather than the confrontation coming to you, that doesn't look like self-defense to anybody.
Well, we know you can't say hit me again or anything. You can't say take your swing. Even
That's actually provocation with intent, which Tennessee doesn't do. Thank God for this guy. But in many states, there's provocation, right? You say things that provoke the confrontation. Whether you intend a violent confrontation or not, you say things that provoke the violent response. There's a variation of that called provocation with intent, where you intentionally provoke the other person to take the first swing so you can shoot them. And if you do that, you lose self-defense and there is no recovery. You can't recover by withdrawal and communication because the legal system says, well, you were just trying to game the system. It's like from an old Western movie like Shane, right? Go ahead, draw first, I dare you. And the guy reaches for his gun and the professional gunfighter draws faster and kills him. That's just an orchestrated killing. There's no recovery from that. But Tennessee doesn't recognize that concept. They only recognize if there's provocation, you lose self-defense, but you can regain it if you withdraw in good faith and communicate that withdrawal to the other.
You
party.
can successfully de-escalate and make it and create a second fight out of it.
A second fight, right? There has to be a second fight.
That motherfucker wants to put his hands on me again. Go home with you. Let's go get his ass. Hail Hitler, nigger. Hey, thanks for picking up my hat. Look at this. Get her. Get her. Let's go get that dude.
So he keeps walking to people to engage in provocative conduct. I mean, that's going to look terrible to a jury. And now he's going to say, well, this time I wasn't doing that. Really? Are we supposed to believe that?
And that's not the only way he tries to be provocative, because he also does this. So there you go.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm sorry. It was there. I had to.
I love saying stuff like that because I've made my share of poor life decisions, but never that poor.
This is, my gosh. Like, why is it always like this? Why? Why is it always like this? Gosh. Anyhow, so we can't really weigh in with a final perspective here as to how this thing is going to come out, obviously, until we know more about this particular confrontation between these two individuals. But if you have
But we can see there's complicating factors, right? He wasn't walking down the street, minding his own business, and this black guy ran up and punched him in the head. That's not what happened.
Now, I do want to just, while I have you, I do want to just mention that I'm trying to assess what may have gone down here. It's not like the victim over here is someone who's, has a reputation for a sterling reputation either. So just to share with you here, the guy that was shot clearly is a scholar over here. On April 18th, 31-year-old Joshua Fox was involved in domestic incident with his wife at their Tower Drive apartment, and he attempted to burn down an apartment with an aerosol can during an argument. So this is the guy who was shot. So basically, what we likely had here was, two bulls in a china shop.
So it certainly looks like the other guy was no nice dude either. In terms of Chud's legal defense, however, all of this is irrelevant unless he knew it at the time he acted in self-defense. So whatever he knew could have affected his state of mind, his mental state, his mens rea, in terms of what he reasonably perceived as a threat. If he knew this guy had a history of violence, if he knew this guy had personally threatened him in the past, that would all be admissible evidence. It goes to his state of mind. But if he didn't know any of that, if he's only discovering it now later, it's not relevant to his decision-making at the time, so it would never be admissible. There are some edge cases. In fact, it could be. So the edge case where you can get the victim, that's what they call them, the victim of the use of defensive force. The edge case where you can get the victim's violent history in the record, even if the defender didn't know it, actually tends to come up when the prosecutor is attacking that element of innocence, like who started the fight, who was likely to have provoked the fight. Because then the question the jury has to answer is, well, who was more likely to have been who triggered this thing? And then then the prosecutor opens the door to the victim's violent history coming in, because that would be probative to the jury's decision about, well, this guy might have been one of the people likely to have started the fight instead of the defendant. And sometimes prosecutors will keep that door closed just simply by not attacking that element of imminence. So that would eliminate that prospect. If you don't do it that way, there's no way to get that evidence in, because it doesn't go to the defendant's state of mind. And normally the defendant's state of mind is the only thing that matters in a self-defense case.
Well, I mean, Hans One Pack brings up here, he did know he had PTSD, and as such, military service likely and prone to violence. Who
knew that?
Chud knew that because supposedly
Chud knew the other guy had PTSD?
I think so.
He said that's what he said in that recording.
In the recording, he said he knew that the other guy had PTSD.
Oh, so maybe he knew something personally about this guy prior to the confrontation. That would be very helpful to Chud. Because then the only trouble then, of course, is really it makes the evidence admissible in a general sense, because it goes to a state of mind. He can document that he knew it beforehand. But the only way to really get it into evidence is for him to take the witness stand and say he knew it.
Well, let's just slow down for a second here. I mean, in theory, it could come in if the victim testifies. But my question is,
no, the victim's testimony, he couldn't testify that Chud knew this.
No,
how would he know what Chud knew?
If it came up in conversation, like if he said to him, "I got PTSD,
you
don't
maybe,
mess with
maybe.
me." That's what Chud implied that this guy said to him. He said, "I got PTSD, you don't want to mess with me." So
but that would be favorable to Chud. So why would the person Chud shot be wanting to say, "Well, I told him this"?
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. If you know that the person is more easily provoked, if you have reasons to know that, like the fact that he tells you he has PTSD, does that make your provocation more egregious? Because you know that you're going to that most people wouldn't be set off by what I'm about to do, but this guy is more likely. So in that sense, it could be brought up potentially by the prosecutor as a saying he loses his provocation.
Right. So the argument in like a law school exam example would be, you know, someone in your neighborhood who's irrational. You know they're irrational. You know that if you shout the word lemon in their face, they throw a punch. Completely irrational, right? A reasonable and prudent person wouldn't respond that way. But that's how they respond, and you know this. And then you run up in their face and you shout the word lemon, and it elicits a punch. Did you not provoke that punch?
Right. And that's my point. And that's what I think Hans is asking. So maybe the prosecutor would want to get it in that, hey, you knew this guy is more easily set off, and that's why this should qualify as provocation, and you lose your self-defense.
Yep.
So that certainly could come up. I had over JH asked me to check locals, plus my wife has a whole list of fighting words. Does that mean she can legally take me out at any minute? Perhaps. I mean, it really depends on what that list of fighting words. Over in locals, he shared this with me that he wants me to share with you, Andrew, where he actually said, "Joe, tell Branca that that these guys want to invite him on a ride. We're out in California. We will go wherever he wants to meet up." I'm not in the picture because I took it. We've been riding together since the mid '80s. So there you go.
Oh, cool. I was just in Vegas a few days ago. I just got back from a motorcycle trip yesterday, actually.
Yeah. So if you want, I can hook you up.
Yeah, if you can forward it to me somehow, that would be great.
I can send you. I'll forward you his X account So this way you can like add them up,
Okay.
if you like, and hook you up that way. So yeah, that's we also.
I have to caution for people in California. I'm moving to Tennessee in a few weeks, so I'm getting further from California. So I'm not sure if I'll be back in California in the motorcycle anytime soon. But you can always ride out to Tennessee. The Blue Hills are nice riding.
Cars in the Mention says Santa Clara DA Jeff Rosen and his entire office were recused from retrying a felony case against pro-Palestinian Stanford protesters because he's a Jew. That's amazing. That's insane. Wow. America First 1776 says, why would anyone do this to people that have mostly no impulse control and expect no reaction from them? He expects reaction, and he got one.
I mean, it feels like the more racist you are, the more you would expect this kind of reaction, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Hello, Tammy. Good to see you. Counted Puddle says, I hate missing the beginning, started there, and then Kamala punished. Enough. Yeah. Well, Kamala was meant for dookies and giggles, and really not much more beyond that. I do want to ask you, have you been following the whole Thomas Massie saga, Andrew?
The congressman?
Yeah. He's got his primary coming up next week.
I mean, I think the guy's a shithead. I hope he loses his primary. I think he's completely self-serving. I don't think he has America's interests at heart. Is he a libertarian? Does he go by that, or he's one of those guys, right? Like a Ron Paul or Rand Paul. I get the names mixed up, but these guys are self-serving, contemptuous of America shitheads. They're not doing what's in America's interest. They're serving their own selves. They get to be these pure little libertarians while the Democrats ravage our nation. I hold them all in contempt, and certainly I hope he loses his primary.
Well, yeah.
So if I was ambiguous or equivocal about that, I can go on.
Yeah, I think if you could just flesh that out for us, that we can, make sure that we don't get confused about where you stand on this. Well,
and I know a lot of people on the right, they reflexively love this guy because he says the right things. But when it comes time to cast the right votes, he doesn't do it.
I describe him as using the Constitution as a prop. And he basically, he taps into the America First popularity that Trump ginned up and tries using it as a basis to get in Trump's way. And for example, the example I've given many times is that, he's technically right that tariffs under the Constitution are supposed to be imposed by Congress, but Congress has the authority to cede that over to the president. And the way that he's using it is in the most presidential way possible, as a leverage tool in dealing with foreign nations rather than as a taxing power. And seeing as how that's how he's using it, I would have utmost respect for him if he said, you can't do this on your own. You need to have Congress do it. We're doing it. And we're going to hand it over to you and cede that over to you. If he wanted to, make sure it was being done properly so that the Constitution was being upheld, I would have the utmost respect for him. When his way of when he's basically saying, no, F you, Trump, you can't do this. And that's what makes me say, okay, you don't really care about America's best interest because Trump was doing this and actually really helping America with this. Why would you strip that away from him unless you just want to make this all about yourself? And what he did today, because he got embroiled this week in a political mess. His opponent is a rhino. His opponent is not a good person. It's Ed Gowrine. Yeah.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. His opponent is a terrible, terrible rhino who Trump has endorsed because Trump just wants to see him gone. And this week, there was this video that dropped, which looks like it's from a deposition of a woman who filed an ethics complaint against Victoria Spartz. Victoria Spartz is another congresswoman who's besties with Massie. She's the only person who voted for Massie to be Speaker of the House. What this woman alleges is that she's an ex-girlfriend of Massie, and that after she broke off from him because he wanted her to do things she didn't want to do, he had gotten her a job with Victoria Spartz's office, and that because she broke up with him, he had Victoria Spartz fire her from that job. So she basically is pressing those claims, and there's video of her saying this, and it basically makes him look like he's a scummy, he's a scummy guy. And so there's been this this ongoing feud in online circles. The Massistans are crazy in love with him. The people who are anti, and they think that anyone who stands against him is just an Israel first crazy, and that they're not America first, that he's pure America first. And I look at
is that what the AIPAC stuff is in the comments? Is AIPAC an Israeli lobby? Okay, I'm wondering when my checks are going to come in, folks. Anytime now would be fine.
Well, so he came out today with what he called the AIPAC Act. Okay, so this is, in case you haven't heard of the AIPAC Act, this is him coming out because he started dipping in the polls as a result of that video that came out, and I think he had a little surge today. And the Massie stands. When I say Massie stands, I'm talking about Candace Owens. I'm talking about comic Dave Smith. I'm talking about Tucker Carlson, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They've come out. They're massive fans of his, and it seems as if because either he's attacks Israel, or because he attacks Trump, or because of both, and they call him, the real constitutionalist. He's real America first. This is where they're coming from. So today he's proposing the AIPAC Act, and this is what he's said. And from the perspective of people who support them, the good faith ones, I'm not talking about the leaders of this cult, because I think that they're totally grifting and totally in bad faith. But I think the good faith ones we don't like the idea of AIPAC or any foreign lobbies influencing our government. And I can understand that. And I'm with you on that. And that's why he introduced this today.
I introduced a bill called the AIPAC Act. You'll see this come up. Nobody knows this. I'm debuting it on your show right now, which would make AIPAC subject to Foreign Agent Registrations Act. For some reason, they're immune right now. And I think not just the money that's spent in politics, but the lobbying that happens on Capitol Hill should be reported if it's a foreign country, whether it's Great Britain, Australia, Turkey, Qatar, or Israel. It needs to be reported.
And the amount of money that goes to these influencers, it's really interesting. You'll see them sort of all, publishing the same attacks online almost simultaneously, or they'll release videos. They're all on the same page, and it's like they're receiving talking points. They should have to disclose that they're receiving this money, right?
Yeah, when I do a commercial, and I've said this so many times, when I sleep, I think about it. I'm Thomas Massie, and I approve this message. I'm Thomas Massie, and I approve this message. That's either at the front or the end of every commercial I do. And when I send out a piece of mail, it says who did it. And, my campaign, Thomas Massie for Congress, approved by Thomas Massie for Congress, paid by. And we need that. I believe we should have that same sort of truth in advertising on social media. Because if it's a good idea in the other outlets, it would be a good idea on social media, particularly because so much of it is foreign money. I remember all of these complaints about election interference, fraudulent elections, and the Russians being involved, and who else being involved. But really, the elections are being influenced online.
Okay, so now I want to get thoughts from both of you about the AIPAC Act as he lays it out there. We'll start with you, Andrew.
I mean, listen, I'm not deep into this AIPAC Israel stuff. I only care about America, and I support Israel as an ally to the extent that's in America's interest. And should it not be in America's interest, I would stop supporting Israel as an ally. America is the core for me. This stuff about what you have to put your name on, I don't care. I'll let other people decide that. My objection to Massie is that, from my view, America is an existential war for survival as a nation that our founders would even recognize. We're on the cusp of either salvaging America or losing it forever. And the only path to victory is MAGA, is America first, through the embodiment of Trump. That's it. That's the only path. It doesn't happen through the rhinos. It doesn't happen through the Democrats. So any force in politics that's not supporting that effort is an enemy to America.
And
that's my position on that.
And it doesn't happen through an America First movement without Trump. It's not going to happen over the next 2 years without Trump. The only way it happens is through embracing Trump. And that's why standing in his way, even if you disagree with some of the stuff that he does, so disagree with him on
Trump's
those.
not perfect. He's not perfect. He's only a human being like everybody else. But he's the only path to saving our nation. That's it.
this AIPAC, he calls it, it's an acronym that he's invented for the purpose of naming the bill the AIPAC Act, meaning it's American interests, protecting against foreign money or something like that. It's that he basically turned into the acronym AIPAC. And what I'm saying to you is this feels to me like a completely desperate stunt. That the reason and even if I agree, even though I agree in principle with the bill, I like the idea of finding a way to get lobbyists out of DC. If you tell me we get all the lobbyists out of DC, we get tobacco out of there, we get pharma out of there, we get AIPAC out of there, we get CARE out of there, we get all the foreign lobbies out of there, we get everyone out of there. If you tell me you have a bill that does that, I am on board with that. God bless. If there's a way to do that, God bless. Fine. Awesome. But if that's what he wanted, if that's what his goal was in promoting this, which is what he pretends his goal is, he wouldn't have called it the AIPAC Act. When you call it the AIPAC Act, you know that that's polarizing. You know that there's hundreds of Congress people who cannot and will not sign off on it. So is this ever going to pass? No. So why are you introducing it now, the days before your primary? And the primary is the only thing that matters to him because it's a red district, which whoever wins that primary wins the seat. So why are you introducing it now during this week? It's because you specifically want to remind everyone, hey, I'm anti-AIPAC, I'm anti-AIPAC, I'm anti-AIPAC, and you're not actually trying to accomplish anything. And that's what I'm saying is where he basically takes people's principles and uses them as a platform to rise himself up and look how great I am. I'm not going to accomplish anything. I'm not trying to legitimately accomplish anything. In fact, I'm kiboshing it purposefully just so that people can see how great I am individually. To me, that is a grifter. To me, that is a schmuck who only cares about his own fame, popularity, and his own proceeds and milking whatever he can out of Congress. This is not America first. This is Massie first. And that's why I say he uses the Constitution as a prop. He uses Congress as a prop. He uses AIPAC as a prop. Whatever he can use to climb up and have people laud him as being some great America first congressperson, that's what he's going to do, even if it means killing the very thing that he's pretending to be promoting. So you see all these crazy people out there saying, oh, he's so America first. Look, he's the only person standing up against AIPAC. Let's see who votes against this. You know it's not going to pass when you label it that. Why would you label it that? Unless you purposefully want it to basically say, hey, I'm anti-AIPAC. Come out and help me. Come out and support me. Throw money at me.
That's where all his support's coming from, Joe. His support's
exactly.
all coming from the left. All his money's coming from the left. It's coming from the AOC people, the Ro Khanna people. It's coming from,
the New York Times. The New York Times has a whole piece out on him, an opinion piece on how he's the greatest congressman. You think there's another Republican out there that they would say that about? I mean, he's a
pure narcissist. It's all completely self-serving. If this was a team sport, we'd say there is no I in team, right? Everyone's supposed to sacrifice for the betterment of the team. It's not about one player. And legislation is a team effort, my friends. That's why there's 450 people in the Article 1. You have to be able to work well with others or you can't get anything done. And if you're the standalone wallflower in the corner saying, I'm the winner, but nobody can work with you and you can't work with anybody, you are not a functional member of that organization. It's not like you're the president and you get to make the executive decisions. You have to be able to work with others. And if you're not, you're just doing it for yourself.
Yeah, well, and that's why to me, I'm like, I can't stomach it. I'm like, and there's so many people who fall for this blatant narcissism. If he was actually accomplishing anything here, I'd be like, okay, great.
You know it.
Yeah.
What's he actually done?
Yeah, show us, list off all his accomplishments, not the things he's thrown out there that he knew before he actually before he trotted out of his office, he knew this is going to die on the vine. Show me the thing he's actually accomplished. You get Ro Khanna out there calling him the greatest congressman that we have. We need to stand up for him. That's how you know he's real America first, because Ro Khanna is standing up with him. What the hell is going on here? I mean, seriously.
By the way, I think I have to come out and support Ro Khanna, Joe, because Ro Khanna came out today or yesterday and said he wants to add 5 new justices to the Supreme Court today.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it, man. Let's get it done right now before the weekend starts. That would be awesome. Oh my God, they're so retarded.
It's astonishing to me how people can see what this guy says and does, and no one so many people seem suckered in by it. They can't. None of them can see through it. It's like, I don't. Are you that? Are you that angry with Trump because of the Epstein files that you basically are saying, I'm going to go support someone who clearly cannot possibly, is not trying legitimately to accomplish anything and is self-promoting? Like, how stupid is this?
And a lot of 1970s TV shows, they had a common theme where it was like a love serum, right? They would sneak into someone's drink and suddenly like Captain Kirk would be in love with the alien woman. He couldn't help himself. It's like these people have been given this love serum by Massie. They love him. And I'm like, well, can you rationally explain your support for him? And they're just like, oh, libertarianism, he's great. I don't know. It's nuts to me.
Yeah. I want to let Jim pop in here also. I mean,
well, I don't. I mean, my opinions are. I don't see
Jim,
how
you should always feel free to interrupt because I talk a lot and Joe talks a lot. It's just our nature.
Just listening. The whole AIPAC is. I don't know a lot about AIPAC. What I know about it is it's an American organization with all American citizens. And that's the money comes from America, and asking America, it's not. They're not in any relationship with the government of Israel, right? So this doesn't make any sense. The reason you have FARA and these different things is because they're doing work for the government of Israel or a government of a different country like Qatar or Russia.
You're raising a very, very important point here, which is like, under what basis would you label as a foreign agency that he wants labeled under FARA, seeing as how they are Americans? So, the whole thing is just, it's astonishing to me. That's why I share it out here. I mean, this is Ro Khanna. It's unbelievable. This is who the woke right are all aligning with here. Thomas Massie is a man of character. He's the type of congressman our founders envisioned. I hope his constituents will see the courage, independence, and sincere love of country he brings to the job. This is like so that's why I said, well, this helps, but I can't be completely sure if Thomas Massie is real America first until Hillary and AOC join in. So that's when we'll know. I mean, just the laughter of this, that he's now got Democrats coming out and shilling for him. I don't even, it's astonishing.
Because he votes with them whenever it matters. He votes with them guys whenever it really matters.
And I actually invited him to talk right before this super chat popped up. So there you go.
Believe me, everyone, if I want to talk, I will talk. I'll just steamroll right over everyone.
Please,
but I know when other.
I mean, Massie is principled, like the waiter on the Titanic is principled, in that you have to pay your check before you can get on the lifeboat. It's like, F you, pal. No. This isn't, the Constitution is not a death sentence. We don't. Our founders wrote that it would be the ultimate in foolishness to abide so strictly by the rule of law that you lost the entire nation in the process.
Which that's an argument against birthright citizenship right there. That even if that's what it means, which it doesn't, but even if that's what it means, you're basically abdicating the United States of America in search of your quote unquote principles.
Right. So, even if that's what it meant in 1791, well, when the 14th Amendment was passed, so right after the Civil War, which it didn't, by the way, it doesn't mean that. But even if it did, in the era of jumbo jets, when millions of people a year can fly into the U.S., bear a child, and make it a U.S. citizen, you can't allow the nation to be dissolved in that way.
Not just are, where we see birth tourism happening, that there's hundreds or thousands of different agencies in China which are advertising to rich Chinese people, hey, send through us and we'll, if you give us $20,000, we'll give you an American citizen, we'll give you a kid who's an American citizen. I mean, so
they don't even come to the continental U.S. They go to Samoa, they go someplace closer. They're only there for a couple hours.
Which only makes you beg the question, why the heck are these Americans? Why do we have all these properties that we basically grant American citizenship to?
We should set them free.
Yeah, seriously, set them free. Like trade in. You're not American citizens anymore, and just Just
strangely, we never have to fight insurrections in these American territories. They're very happy. They're very happy being territories of the U.S. I feel like we're a bad colonial power. I feel like we should be a little more aggressive. They should want to go.
I wanted to
leave the nest, so to speak, and be their own independent people. It's like having a 38-year-old son still living in your house. It's like, dude, get a girlfriend.
Richard Parker asks, I flip off an Indy semi-driver. Do I lose my right to second self-defense, Second Amendment self-defense, I guess, or my right to self-defense is what he's asking here. So it all depends on context. It all depends. That's essentially it. Is that real provocation if you're driving side by side? I mean, it depends whether you park next to each other. It depends, it all depends.
Is it likely to incite immediate violence? You're each in your own cars. So what has to happen? You have to stop driving. You both have to stop. You both have to stop next to each other. You have to get out of your vehicles. Begins to feel a lot like mutual combat to me.
Yeah. I agree, 13 circuits. Let's add 4 judges today. The only hesitation I have on this is that I don't know that I trust that we're not going to get another Amy Coney Barrett out of Trump. Like, I don't know that I trust him in appointing judges, that he's going to find another Clarence Thomas or Alito. Like,
we'll never. The system doesn't produce people like that anymore. We'll never have another Clarence Thomas or Alito.
But
the law schools now produce the equivalent of those guys are Kavanaugh. That's what the law schools produce.
I think Gorsuch is better than Kavanaugh.
He is, but Gorsuch is older than Kavanaugh.
Yeah, it's true.
Each generation, we get the more feminized, the softer. It's.
Did you guys see the dissent by Lagoa in that case about holding the no bond for illegal aliens that snuck into the country? She's the one. Lagoa was the one that Trump was gonna pick. And then until Mike Pence pissed in his ear about Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, I read it as a live stream. Basically, Lagoa was, I think it's Barbara. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's Barbara Lagoa. She was like the second runner-up to Amy Coney Barrett. If Amy Coney Barrett was not picked, it would have been her. And she's great.
Yeah, she would have been awesome. She would have been phenomenal. We would have rulings like I think we would have had better Second Amendment rulings. We would have had all types of better stuff if she was in there.
Which case are you referring to that she issued that sentence?
It was an 11th Circuit said that you can't, you have to give illegal aliens bonds because, that if they sneak into the country, that means they're given a free pass and they can't be held without a bond. But if they're stopped at the border,
the issue is if they go to a port of entry, they can be detained while they're being processed. But if they sneak in and they live in America for 2 years or more, suddenly they're just allowed to stay forever. You can't detain them automatically anymore.
Circuit split though, so maybe it'll go to the Supreme Court and they'll decide.
And the left reading on this is completely corrupt because Congress changed the law specifically to resolve this tension, saying, well, we can't treat the people trying to do it legally worse than we're treating the people who broke in and have been breaking American law with every breath and every second they're in our nation for years. They get a better deal. That's just an incentive not to do it the lawful way.
Joe, I'm loving the show. Andrew, I've been on X watching you fight the horde and loving every post. Life has been entertaining with you guys on the front lines. Well, thank you. We're trying to keep you entertained and informed, both entertained and informed. Speaking of which, I want to talk about this U.S. Supreme Court decision that came out 9-0 today. Since we segued very nicely into illegal aliens. Did you see this decision earlier today? I haven't read through it, but there was a 9-0 decision that came out today, which MAGA should be pretty pleased with. Breaking, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled 9-0 that freight brokers can be held liable if they negligently hire unsafe trucking companies, including those who with illegal alien and foreign drivers who violate CDL rules and cause accidents. This is how you actually stop them from getting hired. By basically making them unhireable. They basically say, hey, if you start hiring these, if you're hiring these people, in that case, you're not going to be able, no one's going to use your service because
it's not just the company that hiring them. This is the brokers who handle all the freight that pass it out to these other companies. They could be held liable for hiring the company, sing, fucking drive the wrong way company.
Right. So basically what these companies are going to do, these broker companies are going to do, when they're brokering out like trucking contracts and who's going to be doing the trucking, they're now going to be obliged to insulate themselves from liability exposure by basically contracting that you are not hiring any illegal aliens, because if they don't have that there to insulate themselves, they can be found that they were negligent. In fact, they might even be found negligent if they don't go beyond just putting in a contract that you're not going to have illegal aliens. But the idea here now is that this now puts the financial pressure that if you hire these illegal aliens, in that case, you might go out of business because trucking brokers won't be able to deal with you because of a fear that they're going to have their own exposure. So that's
insurance companies will start cracking down on the broker, saying, well, wait a minute, you got to watch who you're giving these contracts to, because we're not going to be on the hook for this.
Right. So a little reality check here. So the reality of all this, the reason brokers exist in the first place. So the brokers kind of sit between the shippers and the drivers, and they coordinate connecting the two of them. And the lie is that, well, they just make money off the cost differential. It's an arbitrage arrangement. It's because the shippers don't want to have to deal with the drivers, and that's all bullshit. The brokers exist precisely so they can hire illegal drivers, non-citizen drivers, to get CDLs and drive these shipments because they were immune from litigation in state court. The only reason they exist is so they can hire people like you have here. And they're not subject to prosecution for hiring illegal drivers who are incompetent. They can't be sued in state court. So now that's gone away, and there's no reason for these brokers to exist anymore.
See, I didn't realize that that's what the brokers were doing. That's the purpose they were serving.
They were the middlemen.
They were the middlemen.
I mean, the lie is that they're just providing a service, to make things more efficient, right? I'm a people person. You can't hire me like from Office Space. They played that kind of role.
It also insulates the major companies from liability because they hired the broker. We gave it to a broker. We didn't have anything.
Right. The shipping company said, well, he's not our Indian driver. We had nothing to do with that. You can't sue us over that.
Right. So, and in case you're a little bit lost and confused by what we're talking about here, imagine a scenario that unfolds like this, right? This guy here is driving along, and and let's assume that Jashampreet Singh here is
as a motorcycle rider, this makes me feel so good.
Oh my God, yeah. So if something like this happens, so now the question is, how far up the chain can you sue for having this guy be your driver? And the further up the chain they're able to go, the less likely it is that these trucking companies will be able to hire these folks, because they're not going to be able to stay in business because no one's going to hire them because they can't get they won't be able to get insurance. This
is going to happen, and suddenly they're liable for $50 million in damages. Right? They can't stay in business. They can't get insurance for sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's why this is a really important decision that came out today, in the sense that
I'm shocked it was 9-0, to tell you the truth.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that
that the left
would have said, in the left, they would have been like, oh no, we can't do this.
You know what? I bet it was a trade-off with the abortion pill.
You're right.
Decision.
I didn't even think about that, because that came out today too.
You want to talk about the abortion pill thing?
I'm not sure how much there is to say. It's so we have this, we have Dobbs, right? Dobbs overturned Roe v. Wade. It returns abortion to the states. States like my, for a short period, more current home state of Colorado said, oh no, you can abort babies like until their head comes out. You can still kill them up to that point. Moment of birth, you can have an abortion. Other states said you can't have an abortion after, 4 weeks, a much more limited period of time. And then the response of the Biden administration was, well, whatever. We're just going to mail order the abortion pill to anyone who wants it without a doctor's prescription. No worries. No matter where you are in the country, you'll still be able to get an abortion pill. So the states that wanted to limit abortion were like, well, that's bullshit. It's illegal to just mail order that pill in our state. It has to be prescribed by a doctor. And so they sued in federal court, and they lost in federal court. And then the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals said, you can't do that. It's actually like a crime in Louisiana to provide this pill without a doctor's prescription. We're not going to let these pharmaceutical companies engage in criminal conduct. We're just not going to allow that. And then it was appealed up to the Supreme Court. And I think Alito, like, what did he do? He was asked for a stay. They were asked for a stay, and he said, first he said, I'm going to support the Fifth Amendment, the Fifth Circuit. Then he stayed it so you could get the pills for a couple weeks longer. And then today, 5 p.m. was the end of this day. So the end of the permission to keep mailing the drugs was going to happen at 5 p.m. today. And then like at 6 p.m., the Supreme Court released basically a 1-paragraph decision saying, no, we're going to stay that prohibition. We're going to allow the mail order, the abortion decision to continue. You can mail order the drugs wherever you want, no problem. No explanation, no legal reasoning. And so all these months we've seen Sotomayor, Kagan, Ketanji, Chirp, Jackson, Brown Jackson rather, complaining about, well, you know, we're on the shadow docket and we shouldn't be doing these things. Well, when they want to do it, they just do it. They just make the abortion pill available. They provide no legal rationale, whatever. And they just make it happen. So it's still available. There was a dissent by Alito and by Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
And the Thomas one was great because Thomas was like, listen, I got to ask, how are we issuing a stay to allow criminal conduct? I'm not sure the Supreme Court's ever done that before because that's what's actually happening. It's bizarre. But I can't help but wonder if it was a deal. If they sold Sotomayor and Kagan and Brown... Jackson on this, give us we can sue the Indian truck driver companies and we'll give you the abortion pill thing.
See, you're raising a really interesting question here. And I think that there's good reason to suspect this is true, just looking at the psychology of the actors here. I've often described there being 3 different wings of the Supreme Court. You've got your left, you've got your right, and then you have your 3 in the middle there, which is, Chief Justice Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh, who are more institutionalists. And now, so the question which we're speculating over, and there's no way we'll ever know this to be the case, but what we're speculating over is, it's weird that we got a 9-0 decision, which seems to favor MAGA, and then we get a 7-2 decision, which seems to favor the left. And speculation that maybe there was a little trade-off happening here. And you ask yourself, well, why would there be a trade-off? Why would you do that? If you're actually standing up for constitutional values, you have the majority. So in that case, what you can do is basically just say, well, we'll be 6-3 on both of them. Vote against us on the MAGA thing, on the truck driver issue. Vote against us on the abortion, and we'll be 6-3. But if you understand the mindset of an institutionalist, and they're looking to protect and preserve, the institutions and appearances, they're supposed to be beyond politics and above politics, but they read all this stuff, especially the ones in the middle. I don't think Clarence Thomas or Alito give the slightest damn about what the public says about them, but Chief Justice Roberts certainly does. So what I think is pretty fair speculation here is that the ones on the left probably aren't too crazy about the fact that they're known as the crazies on the left. They want to have people on the right join them sometimes also. So perhaps you have Kagan or Sotomayor go over to Chief Justice Roberts and say, hey, you don't want everyone on the left screaming that you're cheating the system and you're dominating. So we'll join you on this one. But you come in, but you come in with us on the abortion one. And perhaps they already knew that they had Amy Coney Barrett in the bag and Kavanaugh, and they had enough there on the bag. So they said, okay, you know what? We'll join over there. So we'll make it 7-2. And that way we help it look, you're not going to look so partisan. We don't look so partisan. Neither side looks so partisan. We're not going to have our traditional 6-3 line. And we're going to basically exchange that way in what they basically... And that way preserve the sanctity of the court that the public isn't saying that you're acting purely along political lines.
I know that like Louisiana and Texas, I believe, have tried to go after a doctor in New York, I believe. And New York basically told him, go pound sand. We're not going to let you arrest the doctor.
The doctor fled to New York.
Yeah. But so why not start going after the people that are actually providing the drug? Go after the manufacturer who's prescribing it. Go after them. Because this is no different than what New Jersey and New York do to gun dealers. If they sell a gun to somebody in New York or New Jersey and mail it to them, or ammo, they'll go after them and arrest them.
I suspect it's actually... Now, I'm just going to hypothesize here, all right? You want to bear with me? And then I'll probably have to go. My wife just peeked in. It's getting kind of late for me. But I would suggest there's a possibility that there's far more sinister forces at work here anytime we're talking about these abortion cases. So when Dobbs happened, the Dobbs decision had been written. It was ready to be released, the majority decision. But of course, there was the dissent. And the dissent dragged out and dragged out and dragged out and dragged out. And here's the thing. So just because the majority decision is completed doesn't mean that's law. It's not law until the decision's finally released, and then traditionally 32 days after that. And if a justice were to be, say, ended prior to that point, it changes the decision. It changes the law. It's not cast in stone until it's published, and then 32 days later. And the whole time, the dissent in Dobbs was delaying. Kavanaugh, Amy Coney, they were getting death threats. Their family were getting death threats, serious assassination threats. We know an assassin went to Kavanaugh's house. Coney Barrett's family was getting threats of bombs being sent to their home. And they knew that if they were killed before Dobbs was published, it would change the law back in favor of abortion. And so they're watching their colleagues on the Supreme Court, the dissent, delay and delay and delay and extend this window in which they and their families were vulnerable to political assassination with the effect of undoing the Dobbs decision.
Wow.
Imagine if that was
very
you.
dark. That's very dark, Andrew.
Yeah. Imagine if that was you. How would you feel about the colleagues who would just for I think it was 6 or 8 weeks delaying the release of their dissent.
Wrote a story about it.
In other words, maintaining that window in which it would serve the interests of radicals in society to murder you to advance their political interests.
Wow. That's very dark. That's very dark. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a whole story Melanie Hemingway wrote about Kagan going into either, I think, or no, at the time it was Breyer, right? Breyer was still on the court. It was before Breyer retired, right? And right? Breyer? Stevens.
Yeah, Breyer.
So Breyer was the one writing the dissent. And then someone, I think it was Alito or someone came to him and asked him to, can you please speed it up? We're getting death threats. This has to get done, especially after the leak and all that stuff. And then he's like, sure, okay, yeah, I'll take care of it. And then Kagan came in yelling, and the walls were shaking. She was yelling so loud, everybody heard it, screaming at him, fuck, don't do that. Make him wait.
Imagine if your death meant some lunatic's worldview got sustained. And there's millions of people who'd be willing to kill you to do that. And your colleagues who are in the same building as you, you ask them, hey, listen, do you really need 3 months to write this dissent? I mean, what else are you doing?
And there's all sorts of questions where they did the same thing with the gerrymander decision. That they basically held off Calais versus Louisiana until such point in time that it seemed as if it would be too late for states to react and actually gerrymander, that they were delaying as much as possible. And there was a lot of speculation.
At least there wasn't an assassination threat.
Alito put that in the decision. I think it was Alito, right? Put that in the decision saying, it was conference.
It was a footnote.
September.
Right.
And we waited all this
Basically,
time.
the majority decision was done 7 months ago.
Yeah.
So, or in fairness, the conference was done. We all knew how we were going to vote 7 months ago. They've had 7 months to write their dissent.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for joining me. You're always a pleasure to have on here, brother. And I'm going to ask you all to make sure you sign up to the Branca Show. While you're here, you can hit like and subscribe also. Make sure that you sign up to the Branca Show. Andrew Branca is the nation's preeminent expert in self-defense law. So when when he speaks, he's been called many times as an expert witness with respect to law of self-defense. He's literally written the book on it, and recently started venturing into politics. And you hear that the dude is as based as you can possibly hope for. So, and he happens to just be a great guy in general. So if you can check out the Branca Show. I'm going to include a link. If you can share a link with me, I could just sort of pop in there. I'd appreciate that. But I'll share a link with you all here and urge you guys, if you have not yet checked them out, please make sure that you do so, because Andrew is awesome. And yeah, I'll have you back in here soon, brother.
I don't know if I know how to share a link. How would I share a link? Do we still have private chat?
I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it.
All right.
It's just at the Branca Show.
All right. Well, there you go.
BRANCA. All right, guys, thanks for having me on. I know this is normally your cuddle time. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but It was great fun to be here. I really appreciate it, and we should do it again real soon.
We will. Take care, brother.
All right.
Good night.
I put in the private chat.
Appreciate that. And Jade saying, I really don't understand the problem with AIPAC. Everyone loves Planet Apes. AIPAC good. Just wanted to give you another $10 and a joke. We've seen worse. We were here. If you were here last night, there was just one after another. Branca first and third Tuesday every month. I plan on getting him on here on a regular schedule. I keep forgetting to actually reach out to him. He's one of the people who I have his phone number, so I can actually just text him and reach out to him whenever I want. But I do plan on getting him in on a more regular basis, probably on a Monday or a Tuesday. So like that way, I'm not interfering with my other regularly scheduled co-hosts, and we don't have to share the mic as much as we do. Oh, that didn't work. Sorry about that. What the Uzan says, Joe, you missed around from the start of the show on this, but also, yes, I'm pissed with Trump because he backs Mike Johnson, who refuses to put forward bills. Mike Johnson sucks. He's terrible. Trump backs terrible people. He does this all the time. Does that mean that you were going to stand in his way on everything? And that's what Massie is basically saying, which doesn't make any sense. Hands One Pack says, expand Congress to what it used to be, have so many members that it's impossible for lobbyists to control everything. That would be great.
That's my idea. Yeah, that's what I say.
Yes. He also says it's not very libertarian requiring ads to have disclosure. And Uzalian says, what the SCOTUS ruling is going to do is force people to work for one of the major 3 companies and screw the owner-operators over and hurt Americans by increased rates because of less competition. Well, to me, that sounds a little bit like the picking strawberries argument. You know, the reason they hire these illegals is because they're cheaper, you know, and that's to me the picking strawberries argument. And I'm not a big fan of that argument. I understand where you're coming from. It's obviously cheaper if you have people working for a lower rate, you know, it's gonna bring down your labor costs. But I don't think that in the long run that's worth it for Americans, especially when you see how reckless they are driving. Right?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of reckless driving.
We've seen a lot of this reckless driving, indeed. So yeah, I'm going to remind you all, by the way, that we do have a goal up tonight, and the clock is ticking on this. We got under 15. We got 13 and a half minutes left on this. And tonight's goal, if we hit 15 super chats, which we got, or Rumble Rants, or Digger Dollars, which I got one in locals, and I think I saw one in. So I'm going to count it as 2. Okay, I'll count it as 2. Uzalian sent a bunch of 5s, so I'm going to count it as 2 from Diggers. So we'll count that as 3. I'm trying to work our way there, and I see that we have 8 over here. So we really could make our goal. Still, it's out there. And again, if we get some big massive influx, I'll count that also. But tonight's goal, if we hit it, is I will be doing a Saturday night show. Plus, also, we're going to go into hour 3 where I have some phenomenal videos I want to share with you all here, which I know it's going to make you laugh. So,
I like to laugh.
Yeah. It's actually I have a whole series.
I think Brian Olenkamp has decided to.
Brian Olenkamp is like, no, we're definitely bringing this home here. So, we got this one, Cuddle Time. Yeah, well, he knows us. He knows us well. So, anyhow, where was we? What else did I want to cover with you all here? I had here. What was the other? I just want to pull open that. Yeah. Yes, this is the other story I definitely wanted to get to. I couldn't believe this story when I heard this about the Cook County.
It's crazy.
This is a stunt. You want to just figure out, see how insane.
We call it Crook County, where I come from.
Just how bloody insane the left is. I mean, utterly insane. This is in Cook County, which is now really Crook County. It really is. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. Cook County, Illinois Democrats ran a pretrial program for murderers and sexual assaulters so they would not be in jail awaiting trial. Yeah, you killed someone, but like, why would you want to sit in jail now? Well, you have plenty of time to sit in jail later. 8% of them just went missing, untraceable. Murderers and sexual assaulters, gone. We don't know where they are. Whoops. Whoops. We don't know where they are. 243 criminals. How is that just 8%? That's 8%? 243 criminals? Unbelievable. Including murderers, attempted murderers, and sexual assaulters. AWOL. They have no idea where they are at. None. Zero. Supposed to be on ankle monitors, but they're now lost. Now a wild goose chase is underway. So there's roughly 243. In case you're in the Chicago area there, you should be aware. Just, be on the alert, not to cause a panic, God forbid, but just be alert for the notion that there happens to be 243 dangerous and violent criminals on the list. So much incompetence. Oh my God. Ugh. What is wrong here? Enjoy, Illinois. You voted for this. This is the same program ignored by a known career criminal with 72 arrests. He violated curfew, boarded a Chicago train, and set a stranger on fire. I'm old enough to remember Willie Horton's story. Do you remember the Willie Horton story?
Yeah.
The Willie Horton story, where that ended Mike Dukakis's career, pretty much.
I mean, it was that, and then riding in the tank with the helmet on. that made him look like an idiot.
Mike Dukakis in the tank. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yes, Joe, I am from Cook County. I was born in Cook County. I was raised in Cook County. And we called it Crook County. We always called it Crook County.
Can you tell them the Willie Horton story?
Willie Horton was like a murderer or something, and he got when Mike Dukakis was governor of Massachusetts. Was it Massachusetts? Massachusetts. He paroled him, right, or gave him something clemency. Did some kind of same thing. Let him out of jail, and then he got out and committed like within a couple of weeks, committed another crime and everything. And I don't know if it was a murder or something. It was I was young at the time, so yeah. I was in school. That was it. So same sort of thing. But that's actually when people were held accountable. Like you would think Roy Cooper, the guy who released the guy who went on to kill Irina Zarutska, would face the same crap. But it seems like he's going to get a pass.
100%. That's the difference. That's my point, is that we're in a different age today. So, yeah. But the other thing that he did during the 1988 presidential election was that he took a notoriously bad photo op where he got himself in he took a tank ride. And that was him here. And he looked like such a dork, like a little boy. He thought someone looked at this and said, "Oh, this is going to help you. This is good for you. This is totally what you need to do. You need the world to see this." Why do I don't need these stupid pop-ups. I just want to get this picture up there. Oh my God.
Just right click and then open image and new tab. And because he's got his name on the helmet. Mike Dukakis. Like open image and new tab. And then you could blow it up.
Just hilarious. That is such a funny picture. It really is. This should be my new backdrop picture. Back in the day, this sort of thing would just end your career.
Well, look at what was it? Remember the guy that went, "Whoa!" and that ended his career?
I don't remember that.
Oh, the guy, what was his name? It was in, oh man. Oh, what is his name? It was at a thing. He says, "We're gonna go on to this, and we're gonna go on to this." It was like right, oh my God. What was his name? He was the head of DNC for a while. Howard Dean. I think it was like 2004, right?
The name Howard Dean rings a bell, but
he's like, and we're gonna go on to this, because he won something or came in second, won some primary in like Rhode Island or Vermont or somewhere in the Northeast, and I went, and he goes, "Whoa!" And that was the end of his career when he did that. He went, "Oh God, this guy's an idiot."
Well, this is the report coming out of Cook County.
It works out to 8% of the people on electronic monitoring in the pretrial program in Cook County and Chicago who are unaccounted for. Even the state's attorney says we should all be deeply concerned. This is the same system that was ignored by Lawrence Reed, a career violent criminal with 72 arrests. His ankle monitor showed that he'd been out all night twice and was violating his curfew on November 17th of last year when police say he boarded Chicago's L train and set a complete stranger, Bethany McGee, on fire. This is the same ankle monitor system that was ignored by 26-year-old Alfonso Talley. Records show he'd been in trouble for all of his adult life. He disregarded his curfew to the point that he didn't get home to charge the battery, and the ankle monitor went dead. Police say on April 25th, he went on a crime spree that ended with a mother of three, pistol whip with a broken nose, one police officer dead, another fighting for his life. 3,048 people were released pre-trial on electronic monitoring. Almost 20% of them are charged with violent crimes. 7% aggravated battery, 4% criminal sexual assault, 0.8% charged with murder, and 246.
They let 21 murderers out on fucking ankle monitoring.
I was wondering how they have so many murderers. They're not all murderers. So it's basically 8% of all of them, and among them are murderers. So that,
right. Well, but it's just they're violent. They're saying they're violent criminals, though.
Yes. Yes.
They have no idea where they're at. None. Zero. They don't know if we're in the state of Illinois. They have no idea where these individuals are. So think about that. I mean, it's not like they could just go out and start looking for them. Like they have no clue.
The system alerts on a low battery or curfew violation. After 48 hours, a judge can be notified, and that judge can issue an arrest warrant. But any sheriff's deputy will tell you there are thousands of warrants in the system. Without an alert on a specific individual, they get lost in the pile. But the Cook County chief judge did tell a local reporter yesterday that law enforcement is actively searching for the people who are at large.
Oh, well, at least they're actively searching.
That's quite a search. Mike Tobin on that for us. Out of
But if they're in a car, they can't chase them or nothing like that. That's like they outlawed car chases and foot chases.
It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable.
Right. You can't chase them on foot. You can't chase them in a car. Basically, if they run away, you just got to go, oh, well, I just have to wait till they surrender. Seriously.
Oh, my God. Democrats are insane. They really are. All right. Well, Brian Oldenkamp came out here. He's like, you're not going nowhere, Joe. You're not going nowhere. You're going to be here Saturday night. You're going to give us your videos. We're doing this. We're doing this. So I'm just going to say this. He sent in not one, not two, not three, but then said, oh, F it. Goal! Well done. God bless you, brother. Thank you very much. Appreciate you and your very, very generous support, my friend. You're awesome. So God willing, we will be here on Saturday night. That's definitely going. That's now slated in the books.
And that thing about they have to be not found or not like off the monitor for 48 hours. It should be like you do something in the monitor, there's an issue. It should immediately send an alert. There should be people coming looking for you.
Yeah, should be. Amazing Disgrace saying goals are getting. That was the one that actually technically put us at the goal. So well done. Ben Sass's cousin. I wanted you here the whole time. And now you come in here. If you don't like Thomas, meaning Thomas Massie, have you wrestled
like Clarence Thomas?
Have you wrestled with why his support is so split by age? No, I haven't wrestled with that. I know why it's so split by age. I know exactly why it's so split by age. Can you steelman his arguments? I understand the constitutionalist arguments that he's making because I've made those same arguments. I mean, what do you want me to steelman? Richard Barrett's latest why this race is so important. Okay. Just because I like you. I know this race is important.
It's very important.
It's very important because the lines have been drawn.
Yeah, it's very important for Thomas Massie, for the people that support him and the pro-Palestine people. And, you know,
the lines have been drawn. There's been a lot of money thrown at Ed Galrein. And I admit to you that Ed Galrein is a terrible, terrible, terrible rhino. No one has ever heard me give a single compliment to Ed Galrein. Okay? I've never in my life uttered a single compliment.
I don't even know
Ed
who
Galrein.
he is, except for that he was a Navy SEAL or a Green Beret or something, I guess. I don't know.
Right. You've never, I'm just saying, I've seen enough on him to basically assess. I don't remember when I last looked him up, it was like 3 months ago. And I was just like, oh, this guy's terrible. He's awful. He's awful. The reason you hear me railing against Thomas Massie as hard as I do is because there is so much insane, wrongly misguided love for Thomas Massie. And the love is coming from places that are very disconcerting. And then they say, oh, you're against him because of the fact that this is one of the things that they do is they try and silence you by saying, oh, the reason you are against him is because you're Israel first. That's what it's almost like, how dare you say anything? We're going to question your loyalty to this country and your loyalty as an American patriot if you question Thomas Massie, which is precisely woke tactics. Woke tactics are, oh, if you disagree with Obama, we're going to call you a racist. Over here, it's if you disagree with Massie, we're going to call you a dual loyalist. That's why it's called the woke right, because they engage in the exact same tactics. We're going to try and silence you, even if you're making good faith points. That's why I say his AIPAC Act. I don't know if you heard me talking about this earlier. I know that you said you seemed like I saw you at the very beginning of the show, and then I saw that you had to leave, or it seems I read it as if you were driving, you weren't able to like talk. So I don't know if you saw when I was basically explaining that the AIPAC Act he introduced as pure legislation. I generally like it. I don't think it actually works because, as my friend over here, Jim, pointed out, they're American citizens. So how would you put this as if they're not being paid by Israel, the Israeli government, or it's not just or Turkish government or CARE? If they're Muslim Americans and they're basically donating to a PAC,
it would violate the First Amendment if you told an American that if I decided that for whatever reason I wanted to support Poland and I wanted to go and I want to support Poland and I want to go and I want to lobby to tell the government I want you to help Poland out, I want to do this.
That doesn't make you
that doesn't make me a foreign agent at all.
Doesn't make you a foreign agent. So
that would say like a AOC or whatever talking about Puerto Rico. Well, Puerto Rico's different, but it's just. But you know what I'm saying, or Somalia, like the people in America that are talking about we got to like Omar up on the thing talking about we got to help Somalia. I'm going to do this for Somalia. Is she? Maybe she's a foreign agent. I don't know, but she's as an American citizen, she has that right to promote whatever she wants.
And I'll tell you something: as a libertarian, it should be that much more offensive to anyone who fancies themselves a libertarian that you want to try and silence people from expressing themselves. Why would a libertarian be introducing something like this, unless you bake into the equation, and this is why some people feel like it is anti-Semitic, because you're baking into the equation that, oh, if you're Jewish, that means your loyalty is to Israel. That's what's baked into it. I'm going to address the white elephant here. That's what's baked into it. Oh, because you're Jewish, that's why you're supporting the state of Israel. That's what's baked into it.
There's a lot of people that are in AIPAC that support AIPAC and they're things that aren't Jewish. There are a lot
of course, but that's what's baked into it. You want to know why so many young people are supportive of Thomas Massie? A lot of it is baked into that, because this doesn't fit with libertarian principles. So it's not fitting with libertarian principles, and also he introduced it in a way that was purposefully designed to fail, but be heralded by his own supporters as like, oh, how based he is. So based. Oh my God, he's the most based person on the planet because he's calling out AIPAC. Whereas if you're a politician who actually cares about, accomplishment, getting things done, getting things moving in the right direction, you would not purposefully name it something that at least half of Congress, you've been calling out half of Congress being controlled by AIPAC. Why would you name it something that that inherently they will feel they must vote no to? Why would you name it something so polarizing? The only reason you do that is to get to self-aggrandize, have my people scream how based I am that I'm calling out AIPAC with an act. That's why you do it. That's not an effective leader. That's not a constitutionalist. That's not libertarian. That's not anything.
Why would
just
America
self-aggrandizement.
Why would America First guy put on a keffiyeh?
He did that?
Yeah, he wore one. Support Palestine. Why would an American First guy do that? What would that have? What does that have to do supporting Palestine?
It's mind-boggling to me just how there's no principle. So I'm not. I'll let you steel man it. You give me your phone number, my friend. I will put you on the phone, and you know I'm going to talk to you with 100% respect. I think you are smarter than 98% of the people who are standing there as the elites of the woke right who are speaking on behalf of libertarians, speaking on behalf of Thomas Massie. I think you are a million times more intelligent than most of them. And I would be thrilled to have a conversation with you, my friend. In fact, I'll tell you right now, okay?
Before all this Epstein stuff that got in Massey's head, where he went weird, for whatever reason, went weird about Epstein stuff, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when he was the guy that wore the debt clock pin all the time, was going around giving people debt clocks, was just about the debt, we got to stop the debt.
Yeah.
Whatever, that's your thing, cool. But now, like, he's forgot about all that.
Of course. It's just Israel all the time. And I don't have a problem. You can be against our. You can think that's terrible that we support Israel. That I'm totally fine with that. There's nothing. What the hell am I getting this pop up here? All right, let me just do this with Chrome because it's not working on my other thing. I'm gonna. This is a special invite just for you, John. Just for you. I know it's Ben Sass's cousin, but that's a channel joke, which I appreciate him making. But he's been here a long time, and I have a great deal of respect for John. So I'm going to open my phone line. I'm going to tell you right now. Call in. Give me where your area code is. Call in, and I'll call you back. This way, I'm making this purely. I want to hear from. I would consider you the fan of mine who is the biggest Thomas Massie fan, who I know is an intelligent person. So you call in, you tell me where your area code is, and I will call you back. And this way I know I'm getting you. And this way we'll have our conversation. And the number is 972-454-0703. It's 972-454-0703. You call in and we'll talk it out. You tell me exactly why it is that you have this deep affection for Thomas Massie. I'm going to talk to you with nothing but love and respect. So I urge you to please call and let me know that. I just need to know it's you, so when I'm calling back, I'm getting you on the phone. I'm missing Brian's super chats. I didn't miss it. I was working my way there. Joe, Brian sent you 5, 10 talent super chats and 150. I saw. Thank you so very, very much. I saw 3 of them, but if you say you sent 5, whatever. He got us to the goal. So we're good. And I'll be here Saturday night, and I'm gonna abide by it. Let me know if you see Ben Sass' cousin put his area code in there, so I know to look for it. We got this one here. Kimberly's saying Joe Brian sent you. We got this. Okay. Legendary Racing. Thank you for the generous chat. Saying 2 nights ago was the first time I missed a live in weeks when the cow cash topic comes out. I was extremely disappointed to learn that my leader of cult didn't even know common livestock prices. I looked for hours to get muck boots that matched the tracks. I'm so sorry you missed it. I was wondering where you were. It's like, where's Legendary Racing? I don't understand.
What's the cow cash thing?
Cow cash was that Thomas Massie's ex-girlfriend claimed that he was going to pay her $5,000 from his cow cash, which is
okay. That girl, to me, it didn't seem right. I don't know. I think
the timing on it was purposefully designed to try and skunk him. I agree with that. On the other hand, I also didn't think there was anything that terrible.
He was an adult. She's an adult. His wife had already passed away from everything that I read.
Right. I didn't think there was anything that terrible. But no. I understood how it made him look bad. It made it look as if he forced out a woman from her job because he was punishing her. That's the most negative part. That, and potentially that he didn't pay taxes. They wasn't paying taxes, which he denied that part. He didn't really deny the other part.
Well, a real libertarian would not pay taxes because they don't believe in it. So maybe he doesn't pay taxes. Maybe he's a sovereign citizen, free man living on the land, and he's not going to be held down by no man.
I don't know if he got the number, so I'm going to put it in the banner here so you can actually see it. There, it's 972-454-0703. But this is really just for Ben Sass's cousin.
I have not seen him say what his area code is.
He hasn't said it. All right. Well, I'm trying. I'm not trying to duck out of anyone here. I'm not trying. In fact, I actually feel guilty. V-Sync. I didn't see him in the ghetto tonight. I haven't seen V-Sync in the. He was only said, Joe, you missed a rant from the start of the show, but yes, I'm pissed with Trump. I didn't see that rant. I don't know where it is. Luzano also says, what the SCOTUS ruling is going to do is force people to work for one of major 3 companies. I got that one. Hands One Pack says, if we add 5 judges, I like Judge Kenneth Keogh Lee from the 9th Circuit. He had a great writing on vax mandates and immigration law. All right. Also say my favorite bad Republican candidate of all time is Bob Dole. He was pretty.
Bob Dole.
McCain was worse.
McCain was way worse.
But at least we burnt McCain on an election that no one was going to beat Obama in 2008 anyway. I'm noticing something about all the criminals that have, and we also had Romney for crying out loud. I'm noticing something about all the criminals that have escaped. Can't put my finger on it. They all have great tans. Can't put my finger on it. It's hard to know. Papa Penguin pontificates. The system is so completely broke. Why should I continue to participate? Spend my whole life playing by the rules. Why? I'm exhausted. No good deed goes unpunished. Yeah, I don't think you follow the system because I think that you follow the system because you own moral conscience more than like threat of incarceration. Personally, you sort of have we develop our own moral code, and that's far more powerful, I think, than the threat of incarceration. I'm not sure if you were just venting or you really wanted a response, but
me?
No, I'm saying Papa Penguin pontificates, but I understand your frustration. I totally get it. I don't see anyone calling in here either, so I don't know. I did promise I was going to share some really funny videos. There was a whole series that came out. First and foremost, let me share this. Let's do a little Karen Bass work because we need to support Spencer Pratt. So I'm not sure if I got this. I might have gotten this from you. I don't remember if I got this one from you or not.
I sent a bunch of stuff, but there's a.
You see the one? You sent me the one Karen Bass being heckled.
No.
You didn't send me that one?
No, I don't think so. I sent you some. There was some in for like the beginning of the video stuff. There was some good stuff I thought was funny. Where there was like,
I have a lot of funny stuff. But this one I'm sharing with you is not funny. This one is
Virginia DA that was at Congress getting yelled at by a bunch of people for what he was doing, letting people go.
Before I get to Karen Bass, can I just comment about Kevin Kiley?
Yeah, go ahead. I have a question about that. That's the guy who was the next signature for the Ukraine bill or whatever. But I want to know where the other signatures are because there's a bunch of Democrats that aren't in office anymore. There was that Sheriff. Like I did the math. The math don't add up. Like so, she was able to sign this petition even though she got kicked out and had to resign. The one that died, every Democrat signed it, and this one independent had said it. And I'm like, wait, that don't add up because there's 6 vacancies on the Democrat side right now. 6 Democrats that like 4 or 5 died, and then there's the one that had to resign.
I didn't see this. No, I didn't see this, Richard. No, I don't know who's on that committee as far as how it made it past committee.
Plus the one that's missing. There's a one that's missing that's been missing for a long time. So how did she sign it?
Well, let's start here. Let's start here. We're gonna go back in time a few months to a story that I had missed.
Back in time.
We're going back 2 months to a story I missed, and I should have covered. And that was this Kevin Kiley thing. So California Representative Kevin Kiley, I'll make this a little smaller so it fits better. Kevin Kiley announces that he will leave the GOP this week to become an independent. This was on March 9th, 2026. This is not now. This happened back in March, and I didn't cover this. Now, Kevin Kiley was a California member of the GOP.
Yeah, it's like a Florida Democrat.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess, yeah. So this story when it came out is, and I know his name. He has a very boyish looking face. The reason I know his name is because he's someone who does really good in those viral moments in those House hearings. Like he'll go after someone and sound really based. So it sort of feels like a little bit of I feel like I've been hoodwinked by him. I felt like disappointed. I'm like, really? So, and then I sort of understood a little bit. Representative Kevin Kiley formally announced Monday that he'll be leaving the Republican Party this week to instead become an independent. He announced last week that he'll be running for re-election this year, but this time as independent. Why? Why would he be doing that? So he says, I'll be the sole independent member of the House of Representatives, Kiley told reporters Monday during a virtual press conference. We're going to be submitting it to the clerk today. You know why he did this? Because remember that Gavin Newsom redistricted? Redistricting, one of the people who was being carved out by Gavin Newsom's redistricting was Kevin Kiley. So he's like, I got all these Democrats now. I need to appeal to these Democrats. So I'm going to be labeling myself independent, and that way I have a chance of surviving this redistricting. His decision, he said, was based on his disgust with all the gerrymandering going on across the country, which you know he feels personally angry at Gavin Newsom for redistricting him. But this way he can sound independent in coming out against Republicans. So I was sort of like, I'm willing to give him a pass because he's trying to survive. And if he stays as based, I'm willing to give him a pass. He's just trying to survive. So if I call out the gerrymandering, so that sounds like something that most people would, on either side of the aisle, would agree that they don't like the idea of gerrymandering.
He's the only independent in the House. There's 2 independents in the Senate, Angus Young and, or is it Angus Young?
Bernie Sanders.
Angus King. I'm sorry, not Angus Young. Angus Young was Bernie Sanders. Angus Young was the guitar player for AC/DC.
No.
Angus King.
So he made this statement about gerrymandering. I reached decisions that since gerrymandering seeks to elevate partisanship above everything our policies and governance seeks to make it the sum and substance of our politics, and the best way to counter gerrymandering and its insidious impacts on democracy is simply to take partisanship out of the equation. This is a lie. This is your classic politician's lie. It's, I want to survive my next election, and if I'm a Republican, I have no chance. So let me label myself independent. That's what he's doing here. So I get it. He's trying to survive. I could live with this. I could live with this. What gets me really pissed off is what Jim was just talking about. Ukraine aid, this was today, Ukraine aid bill hits threshold forcing a House vote, and a bipartisan effort to force a House vote on new aid for Ukraine has officially cleared the required threshold, setting up potential showdown in Congress over continued U.S. support for Kyiv, whatever they call it. The push succeeded after Representative Kevin Kiley signed a discharge petition on May 13th, giving supporters the 218 signatures needed to bypass House leadership and compel a vote on legislation.
So I'm saying they need to say who signed this, because there's no, if it was signed by somebody who's no longer in Congress, that signature comes off.
That's an interesting question.
You know, like Shafrilis or whatever, because this has been out for a while, this thing. So if it was signed by someone who's dead,
it probably was. It almost definitely was signed by Shafrilis. Yeah.
Yeah.
The bill introduced by Meeks from New York, the ranking Democrat, had stalled for months while supporters searched for one final signature to move it forward independently of Republican leadership. Although the measure faces steep political obstacles, particularly due to strong Republican resistance and opposition from Donald Trump, the petition's success marks another challenge for House Speaker. Also, it probably had Swalwell's signature on it.
That's what I'm saying. So if Speaker Johnson wants to, he goes, no, you got to take these names off. They're not in Congress anymore. Their names don't count.
It's true. The legislation will provide $1.3 billion in military assistance to Ukraine and authorize as much as an $8 billion more through direct loans. And you know that those loans are never going to be repaid. So it's really $9 billion.
Well, this is a push so that they could get the money, back before the election to use in their elections. That's what this is about.
Yes.
Get the money laundering going again.
100%. I totally agree with you on that. I have the exact same opinion. And additional support, it also includes provisions to replenish U.S. weapon stockpiles, fund Ukraine's post-war reconstruction, blah, 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 blah. This is about money laundering back to Washington in time for the 2026 midterms. I agree with you 100%. And frankly, this makes me say, yeah, Kevin Kiley, go to hell. I'm done with you.
I don't know if this would make it through the Senate anyway. It's not going to get 60 votes.
True. Maybe. I don't know. You trust the GOP Senate?
I don't know. If they could get that through and I don't
know.
We'll not be able to get the SAVE Act even voted on. That's ridiculous.
Are you able to dig up that Xi handshake while I start getting to these other videos that I want
to look for?
If you can, the long handshake that Richard Parker referenced over here. While I start sharing so I wanted to share with you, this is what happened to Karen Bass today. It's pretty funny. You guys are gonna like this. And this is the least funny of like the next 6 videos I have for you. It's the longest one, but it's the least funny.
Much $400 million to Karen Bass is here to talk about homelessness. Inside Safe, we have spent how much, Karen? How much? $400 million to house what, 1,500 people permanently? You are a failure. An absolute failure. And you come here for your little media event. You have failed the city of LA, Karen. We are spending hundreds of thousands per person in Inside Safe. Half of them end up back out on the street. The city is filthy. You've cut funding for everything. You've cut funding for street services, for street lighting, for sanitation. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me. You could be nice. I don't care about your media event. The people of LA have real questions.
We're about to get started.
I'll wait till she talks. I'll let Hugo talk. You guys don't want to have your little rally for Karen Bass. I don't give a damn about Karen Bass. She has lied to the voters, and she's been an absolute failure. And
he totally wrecked his whole media event.
Everybody just sits around just pretending. Let's put on this little act right here. Go ahead, Hugo. I'll let you speak.
William, thank you. Our current mayor, Karen Mayor Bass.
Boo! Boo!
Thank you.
It reminds me of The Princess Bride, where they're like, boo! Boo!
Good morning, everyone. It is definitely a delight to be here.
No, she's lying.
Which, by the way, I can't even enjoy The Princess Bride anymore. Between Carl Reiner and now having watched House of Cards and seeing Claire Underwood, I can't watch it anymore. I can't.
All right, I got those handshake. I'll put it in the private chat.
Shoulder with a
Rob Reiner. I said Carl Reiner. It's Rob Reiner, right?
wonderful council member who I have enjoyed working with for the last 3.5 years. Both of us committed to ending homelessness in the nation's second.
It's higher now than when you entered office. It's higher right now than when you entered office.
For 2 years in a row.
That's 2 years. You've been in office for almost 4. It's higher now than when you entered office. Karen, you deserve no credit. You're taking credit for their work, Karen. Karen, you're taking credit for their work. You are so shameful. Let's bury Karen's career.
Look at this guy's face.
Come on, Hugo. Why are you letting her?
Look at this guy's face over here. He's so angry.
Take credit for their work. There she is. Throw her in the trash. Why did you alter the Palisades after action report? Don't you think the people deserve to know why?
We're gonna head right this way.
This is great.
Why would you?
It's not an easy thing to do. It requires balls of steel.
Alter that.
Because you know that all the people surrounding her are all fans. In fact, they start chanting in her favor soon.
After action report.
Okay. Are you okay? Thanks for being so. I just would mind one. Sorry, Mayor, be careful of that.
Because why are you bumping me? Because he's a terrible mayor. Hey, Karen, you spent $400 million on Inside Safe and only permanently housed 1,500 people. Is that successful? Is that successful? Nobody loves her. Her approval rating says otherwise. Hey, Karen, can you explain why you spent so much on Inside Safe?
Some of these stupid reporters. Oh, we love you, Karen.
And only permanently housed 1,500 people. Is that a good use of our funds? That's taxpayer money. And you've cut, street lighting, you've cut sanitation, you've cut public works, you've cut all types of works, and then you want to come out and take credit for things that other people do. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yes, well, let me just...
No, she's a failure. She spent $400 million on Inside Safe and only permanently housed 1,500 people. 1,500 people. $400 million we spent on her program.
He's totally wrecking her Channel 7 News moment. Her ABC News moment.
She has tried to fight audits nonstop. I am not. I don't care. I'm trying to get answers. She has been running for years and she won't answer the questions. Karen Bass, why have you been fighting an audit of Inside Safe? Why? You guys just want to sit there and run cover for her. Shame on all of you.
Nice.
All of you. You ask her softball questions. We have real problems. You guys are the fucking problem. You're a failure. You're not asking. You have never asked real questions. You have never asked real questions.
I'm ready to ask questions. Like, who
Film
are
the
you?
police LA at gmail.com. Send me an email. Karen, you're a failure. No one loves her. She's a failure. There goes Karen speed. You can't go that way. Karen's speed running again. You can't go that way. There is a truck in the way. What a mess.
I don't know. Who
There
this
goes
guy
Karen
is.
speed running. Karen, you, at some point you got to stop being a Karen and answer questions.
So good.
Karen, stop being a Karen.
So there you
They
go.
didn't want to sit there. This is a city event, and they just want to turn it into an entire campaign event. You don't get that luxury.
Amen. Well done.
I did while I was getting that handshake thing. I found another link for something that exactly addressed what Andrew was talking about, how we're not going to get people like Clarence Thomas out of law schools anymore. There's a link, I put it in there, about what's going on at law schools.
All right, I just want to follow up on the Karen Best thing.
No, I was just saying, I put it, it's just something for later.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's a good thread to look at.
Thank you. All right. So her opponent, Spencer Pratt, is just killing
His commercials
it.
are the best. Oh my God.
Killing it. These are his This is another one of his commercials that dropped today.
Everything is awful. Everything is hell when you're part of the scene. Karen Bass is awful and burning down our streets. Dirty needles, human waste. We just named two awful things: a stolen car, a burned down house. You know what's awful? Everything. Moms in shock, hit the locks. A camp of addicts down the block. Lots of tents, a very big mess. Awful scenes are not the best. Camps, traps, and crap, they're awful. Crack, smack, and shacks, they're awful. Slums and scum and bums, that's awful. Everything you see or smell or touch is awful. Karen Bass is awful. Everything is hell when you're part of her scene. Everything is awful.
Everything is hell when you're part of her scene. Oh my God.
And she's killing our dreams. Wait, somebody's fighting back now. Standing up and taking flack now. Spencer Pratt lost everything. Watch the flames take everything. But instead of looking down, he's exposing this whole town, calling out the corrupt machine. Somebody's gotta clean this scene. Let's go! Truth, proof, and receipts. Not awful. Fight light and
Not
making
awful.
things right. Not awful. One man, a plan, and he won't quit. Not awful. Spencer Pratt is done with all of this. Awful. Spencer Pratt is fighting. Everything gets better when you fight for the scene. Spencer Pratt is rising. He's gonna save LA's dreams. Everything gets better when somebody stands up and refuses to quit. Spencer Pratt is fighting, and we're done with all of this shit.
I think
Wow.
he might. I think he might win. I think he might win. I really do.
If the two of them stay in the race, if both of them stay in the race, both Bass and Ramajama, whatever her name is, stay in the race, he has a good shot. If one of them drops out, he's not going to make it.
I think he might win.
They might split the vote. You know, they might split the vote and each take like 30% each, and then he'll take 40.
I think he might win. All right. So, what did you share with me here before I get to my other funny stuff?
There's a handshake, and then there's that one thing.
One of the most intense handshake battles of all time. All right, let's see. Let's see this. Oh, this is funny. This would be funny. No one wants to pull back. I'm not. You can pull back. I'm not pulling back. You know, you'll be here forever. We'll be here forever. This is a link for the anti-racism thing. How long is this? 3 minutes? All right. There's a
good thread. There's a good thread on it actually below it too, like talking about it. You know, like what's going on.
In a mandatory anti-racism class, Penn State told 1L students they must acknowledge reality of systemic racism and dismantle systems that radicalize, subordinate, and oppress. One student withdrew from the law school over the class. We obtained shocking audio.
There wasn't an institutional message, and this is the first place I've ever taught, where it is baked into the DNA. It is, and it is everywhere from the ground up. That being a lawyer is not just about doing, a set of tools or skills. Being a lawyer is about recognizing and combating injustice. The REPL course, I think, is powerful precisely because you're starting it right away. It's not elective, it's not optional, because this is not one way to be a good lawyer, right? Paying attention to these things is what it means, one of the things it means to be a good lawyer. And, as somewhat, I'm a trans woman, right? And this year, there is a lot happening against people in my community, and having a focus.
You don't have a community. There's no such thing as a trans community. You don't, that's insanity. You don't have a community. Ridiculousness. It's like, unless we set up fences and put you in somewhere, you don't have a community. Trans community.
From the outs on recognizing and combating oppression and injustice is meaningful to me in a way I cannot describe.
I want to say today that you all officially become part of this broader coalition and effort towards building a more anti-racist, equal, under the law approach to our law and legal systems. This is the part of the coalition that I'm really excited about. We are taking action to disrupt and dismantle systems that racialize, subordinate, and oppress.
I hope his wife gives him a better.
What systems are you talking about? They're going to dismantle the systems of the U.S. government? Is that what they're talking about? The legal system? I mean, what is going on here?
I hope he got an extra pillow as a cushion for like watching his wife do her work.
We, as part of our broader anti-racism commitments here, want to acknowledge the reality of systemic racism, subordination, and oppression. Acknowledging says this exists, right? Racism, subordination, and oppression exists, and it has existed. We start with that as a foundation for this course as well.
The great thing about REPL is that when I talk about this idea of inclusivity, it doesn't matter how much experience you've already had with learning about systemic racism, whether you think, oh, I already know about this, like I don't need to pay attention. Well, you do, even if you've already learned, or if you're in a position where you're white and you don't have to worry about these things. So you're like, oh, I don't need to pay attention. Well, you do too. But at the end of the day.
So basically they're teaching them that white people can't be discriminated against.
Oh, that's exactly what they're baking in here.
Unique position of power to be able to help people that
shut up.
You may not be part of a marginalized.
Just shut up. David Blackman, a former 911 call operator and veteran of the Texas State Guard, was thrilled to be going to law school at Penn State. Then he sat through the first session of Race and the Equal Protection of the Laws, a required first-year course. This was not a required first-year course when I was in law school, I'll tell you that. You know what required first-year courses were? Our required first-year courses were this: real property, torts, constitutional law, crim law, crim procedure, federal, contract, and there's one more I'm forgetting.
Probably ethics.
No, you have to take along the way. You must take an ethics course. That's true. That is mandatory. I'm definitely forgetting. I got real property, torts, contract law, and crim law and constitutional law. There's a sixth one. I don't think evidence is something that I've never heard of anyone who doesn't take evidence. Everyone takes evidence at some point, but I don't remember if that was mandatory. They also give you legal writing that you have to take. I went to school in Fordham, and I was there from 95 through 98. And I think that was it. The legal writing, and there's they strongly urge you to take a trial advocacy course, which I took 2 of those. So, but that's like your mandatory stuff. We didn't have any of this nonsense. None of this stupidity. Blackman listened to a transgender faculty member, Emily Spotswood, explaining why the course was mandatory. It's not optional, Spotswood said, because being a lawyer is about recognizing and combating injustice. In an audio session obtained by the Free Beacon, Spotswood said that the institutional message was baked into the law school's DNA, adding that as a trans woman, course's focus on combating oppression is meaningful to me. Spotswood's remarks followed a presentation by Jeffrey Dodge, the law school associate dean, and Shakira Sanders, who was introduced as the first associate dean of anti-racism and critical pedagogy in the country. The presentation made clear that Blackman wasn't in Texas anymore. He and his classmates are now conscripts in a political coalition that, as Dodge put in his talks, was dedicated to building a more anti-racist future. We're taking action to disrupt and dismantle systems that racialize, subordinate, and oppress, Dodge said. We want to acknowledge the reality of systemic racism as a foundation for this course. Thus began a series of struggle sessions in which professors demanded students affirm activist talking points and ultimately drove Blackman, whose first choice law school had been Penn State, to withdraw from the school after just 1 semester. Good on him. Over the course of 350-minute lectures, speakers described all white people as privileged, called to eradicate patriarchy, and asserted that the justice system is about keeping Black people in their place. One assignment said students should consider framing their essays around the reality of their systemic racism, implying that doing otherwise could affect their grade. Launched in 2020, the class is now raising questions about whether public law school violated the First Amendment and Civil Rights Act. Blackman withdrew from the school after refused to grant him an exemption from the course. We should abolish law schools in general. So little that you learn there that actually helps you.
But didn't they used to, like years ago, you would clerk or apprentice under a judge or a lawyer, and then
when you come out of law school, you know nothing about how to practice law. You have a vague familiarity because you take the bar with basic concepts. Yeah. My law degree is not worth sitting through a mandatory DI class. How long is this? This is very long. This is very long.
It was very good. Though when I saw it, I was like, oh, the Bronca would. I should somehow get that to Bronca.
Yeah. It does go on for a while.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if I'm just wondering if maybe the DOJ is going to send them a letter and say, hey, what's going on here? You're violating First Amendment rights.
More likely, a bar association will go after Aaron Sibarium, because he's almost certainly a lawyer himself. Unbelievable. My law degree is not worth sitting through mandatory DI class that spits in my entire background, said Blackman, who helped the Texas Guard deliver emergency supplies during Hurricane Beryl. A lot of people who say DI is bad, but I gave up a law career because of it. Penn State is land-grant university with significant ties to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, controls 9 of the 36 voting spots on the board of trustees. The course is a stark example of how DEI remains entrenched in many democratic institutions despite legal threats. America First Policy Institute told Penn State in April that the class creates a racially hostile educational environment in violation, and Fires said the school may have violated the First Amendment by pressuring students to acknowledge contested claims about white supremacy. Quote, that would in many cases be compelled speech, said Zach Greenberg, an attorney at Fire, adding that the analysis would turn on whether students could question those claims without being marked down. For his part, Blackman felt pressured to toe the line, asked to submit an essay on systemic racism in law. He wrote about Texas's strict drug laws, which he believes should be reformed, but framed the issue as a matter of racial justice rather than colorblind fairness. I added a lot of color that doesn't really stand up with my beliefs to get a passing grade, Blackman said. Penn State did not respond to requests for comments, of course not. Blackman had been willing to put up with the readings from Paul Butler, Georgetown law professor, who argues that police are looking for reason to arrest black men, and with Penn State's propensity for progressive neologisms such as intersectional liberal democracy. The straw that broke the camel's back was a statement from Conway, the law school dean, condemning immigration and condemning ICE. This weekend's blanket of snow with its clean white veneer starkly contrasts with conflagration enveloping the rule of law, Conway wrote in a school-wide message on January 26, 2026, referencing the deaths of 2 anti-ICE protesters. Blackman drafted a reply to the email thanking Conway for her efforts to create space for reflection, but politely pushing back on her one-sided view of deeply contested events, which he said could undermine confidence in the school's neutrality. But when Blackman attempted to send the email, he was notified that a moderator of the listserv had blocked the message. The message was rejected by a moderator for these recipients, read the note from Colleen Faircloth, the law school administrator, says suppressing his speech. Fed up with the blanket act of censorship, Blackman filed a petition with the provost office demanding university-level audit of the race and equal protection of the law course and the concurrent administrative suppression of student speech. But rather than launch his own audit, Penn State punted the petition to Conway, the very dean who was the subject of the complaint. That doesn't sound completely fascist. Conway was also the driving force behind the creation of the anti-racism class and attends every session of the class. It was an obvious conflict of interest, Blackman said. He quoted a Latin saying, "Nemo iudet in causa sua," which means no one should be a judge in their own case. On February 26, the law school informed Blackman that he would not be excused from the class. That was the last straw. Blackman withdrew from the law school rather than complete the course, but decided to give Conway a final piece of his mind before leaving. As a former member of law enforcement in the great state of Texas, I abhor everything this class teaches and will no longer be even a passive participant in such a farce, Blackman wrote in an email on February 27. Here, here. Here, here, indeed. Wow.
They got the audio from the 2 classes. He recorded everything. I'm surprised they didn't try to come after him and say he illegally recorded it.
I've seen this dude before. It's unbelievable. Yeah, this is, you want to know why we're never going to have great, but here's the question is like why you can't get them now. There should be people my age who are sufficiently based. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to replace them now. Can't promise you what's going to be 20 years from now, but now you should be able to find people. Did you see the Ellen Page? Sorry, I don't know.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Is supposed to be the next Achilles?
Yeah. Did you see the? Did you see her that they have?
Well, this is where I'm going. Don't ruin it.
All right.
Don't ruin it.
All right. I think I know where you're going with this.
All right. Let me find a quick article on this.
Because if I've done it once, I've done it 300 times.
So, Ellen Page takes over Brad Pitt's The Odyssey character in New Theory. I'm going somewhere with this. Trust me, I'm going somewhere you're going to like with this. I'm going somewhere with this, okay? So pay attention because I'm going somewhere you're going to like. A theory is circulating online that actor Page might be following in the footsteps of Brad Pitt in the iconic role he had as Achilles, playing the ghost of Achilles in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Hard to deny the evidence if you follow the director's filmography. Nolan is frequently reunited with past collaborators like Page, Robert Pattinson, Anne Hathaway, and Matt Damon. Although most of them have been confirmed for major roles in Homer's famous epic, the character Page will be playing has still not been announced. Just so happens that no one has been revealed as Achilles either. After The Odyssey's latest trailer revealed a brief glimpse of Elliot Page's character, speculation around the role has only intensified. If a fan theory is true, it wouldn't be the first time that Nolan unsuccessfully tried to keep a major character under wraps. Dark Knight Rises, Marion Cotillard played a character named Miranda Tate, but we all knew it was Tala al Ghul months before the movie came out. Now it might be happening again. This is their trailer. In the recent trailer, Odyssey page one on his face, who's looking after your wife and son? It's a brief moment, but in the dim atmosphere, it looks like could be Nolan's interpretation of the underworld, a stylistic choice which understandably sparked the theory the page is playing the ghost of Achilles. Although the line itself doesn't appear in the source material, it feels consistent with Achilles' regretful demeanor. Anyway, so the bottom line here is there's all the speculation going on now that that the woman who transed herself into a dude is going to be playing the very character that was legendarily played by Brad Pitt. And that has inspired the internet in ways that are remarkable and delicious. Delicious. And you're going to enjoy this. And I saw this. I started laughing out loud. I had to show it to my wife because I was laughing this. She's like, what are you laughing? I just saw this and I just started laughing and laughing. And then I found more.
Okay.
But we start here. We start here.
That sounds good.
Oh my God. I was dying. I was dying. I was like, I kept watching it, and just every time right here in this moment. Oh my God. That was so funny. It's a very short film, Joe. It's a very, very, very short film. I told you were going to enjoy it. I told you were going to enjoy it. And then and then I found this.
King Xerxes offers his respect, ma'am. All he asks is that Sparta kneels a simple bow and your people will be spared.
Don't call me ma'am.
My apologies, miss. Xerxes is generous. He only wants your loyalty. Surely even a delicate thing like yourself can understand that.
Stop!
I said don't fucking misgender me!
Ma'am, calm down. No need to get emotional.
The nod.
That's Dylan Mulvaney.
It is so!
Nothing. Oh my God. Oh, that's so good. I told you I wanted to reach this goal so badly. I was like, how am I not going to show this to them? I probably would have. You're welcome. You're welcome. Is that it? Is that the end? Oh, no. No, that's not it. No, I'm sorry. There's one more clip I had to have you all watch also. How many of these did you see, Jim?
Oh, that was the one I wanted to make sure you had. The one with the 300 one was. That's why.
The 300 one?
I've seen it once. I've seen it 300 times.
Oh, nice. Well, then we have this. If you guys can hit like and subscribe while you're here, I would appreciate it. I find great stuff for you. Elliot Page is Terminator.
Not the fact that Elliot Page is like 5'1".
Give me your boots, your clothes, your motorcycle, and a box of Xanax.
Transphobic jerk!
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. And and then the last one I have for you. Superhero Elliot Page.
Master of disaster! Time to say goodbye.
Song's gonna get you.
You got this, Rocky! You got this, Rocky!
We're just seconds away.
So there you go. There you go.
Rest in peace, Carl Weathers.
Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. He was great. He was great. All right. So you want to tell people where they can find you, my friend?
Yes, you can find me at JimTellsYou on Rumble, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, X at Jim Satala, and everywhere else. Your Rumble, YouTube. I forgot YouTube. Yeah.
All these
your better podcasts are sold.
All these phenomenal places. I urge you guys, make sure that while you're here, hit like and subscribe, and you're going to find a link in the description, both to my good friend over here, Jim Sataya from JimTellsYou, and as soon as I get it up here in my description, which you'll have it in just a moment. I'm just going to do that before I forget, because otherwise things will happen. I was looking for VSync, by the way, because yesterday VSync sent something to me that I missed. It was near the end of the show, where he said, speaking of hiding things, yesterday, this related to yesterday's conversation. I don't know if VSync's going to see this or not, but said, speaking of hiding things, was just reading, they asked people in Russian village why they hate Jews, and the guy said they have a secret vegetable to not become alcoholic and won't share it with us. I've never heard of this secret vegetable, but I guess if you're sitting at home and you don't know any Jews, you would probably assume I have to say that. But I can't even imagine what the hell that even means.
I don't even know.
Yeah. So, but I am giving you links over here in the description. I'm going to urge you all, if you can please make sure you check out my co-host who joined me today.
VSync, there he is. There's VSync.
VSync is here. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was joking or not.
Called a potato.
Yeah. Well, at the... Oh, is that what it is called? Potato? Yeah. So now, well, yeah, anyway, I can't even imagine what the heck that even means. But that's an original reason to hate Jews. I like that one. I like that one. If you're gonna hate Jews, I guess that's probably one of the best reasons I've heard yet. All right, I thank all for joining me. I'm going to remind you that Lab Meat was meant for Elliot Page.
1 second before you go.
Oh,
go into your customization and redirect to Ricada.
I should do that, right?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it'd be a nice thing to do.
That is a nice thing to do. All right, I didn't know that he was. Good job, you, in finding him.
Well, I just got an email saying he was going live, so
I can definitely do that. I can definitely do that. I can share a link over there. I don't know if he's not live yet, right?
I said he was going live at 1:15, so he's only 15 minutes late.
Huh. Well, I hope he gets on in there soon because I'm gonna be sending.
Well, whatever.
I'm saying
that's what it is. It's this thought that counts.
It is the thought that counts. It is a thought that counts. All right. Well, I appreciate you helped me accomplish that.
I don't mean to boss you around or nothing like that.
Well, you seem pretty determined to do it. I mean, you were like, where are you going? You can't. You have to redirect. Yeah. So yeah, the lab meet was meant for the pages in your life. It's not meant for you. It's not meant for you. And do not eat the bugs. Don't do it. Have a good night, everyone. And as always, Godspeed.